going to bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's going to be biblical.
And here we are again. Patriots across the pond. Episode, is it 11, you and I? We're racing there with friends guests, aren't we? But yeah, this is 11 for us. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. And you know what? You're an honorary American. Happy Thanksgiving, Stu.
I've got my Make America Great Again hat on, that one there, and the 45 dash.
Yeah, dash.
Which is very important. And my wanted president, that's Dylan Lewis Monroe, did that. He put his Q map over Trump's face. So
oh, that's so brilliant. I love it.
I had that printed on a T-shirt when we were trying to get Trumpy back in, when we were all enduring the Biden show, which was actually quite funny, wasn't it? And I missed a bit of Biden. But how are you?
I'm doing okay. You know, today is really sunny here. I'm so happy. It was a really ugly day yesterday. So it's always nice to have a nice day for Thanksgiving. And I was just making my little mental list of all the things I'm grateful for, because it's really what it's about. I mean, everybody gets so caught up in cooking and the turkey and like, I'm very careful when I send out happy Thanksgiving, wishes to people, that it's like, for me, it's not about the turkey. First of all, I feel so bad for the little turkeys, but aside from that, it's just about being grateful, whatever the history and all that kind of stuff. It's a day that we could just be grateful. So I'm so grateful for all the people in my life, my children, my fiance, George, for you, Stu, that we make it possible to go from one show a week to now doing 5. We're literally doing almost like 5, at least 4 to 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And
keeping the weekends free.
Yeah. Need a couple of days to reboot a little bit.
So if I'm an honorary American, are you sending me a plate of dinner over?
Sure. It's going to be vegetarian, but I'll try to grab some meat from the rest of the table.
Yeah, your dinner will be vegetarian.
Mine, not where we're going. No, they're going to have plenty of meat.
Oh yeah, well,
turkey, ham.
I'll have a plate with
some turkey. Family is Cuban, so like when I was growing up, Thanksgiving was, we had like American, we had like turkey and potatoes and stuffing and all that, but then we always had to have a pasta, right? Just couldn't have a holiday without a pasta. So we would either have like lasagna, or usually it was lasagna. But now I'm going to George's family. They're Cuban. So I know we're going to have like some rice and beans and things like that, he said. So we'll see. So nice. I think a lot of cultures, they'll have like American, but they also try to pull in whatever their cuisine is, which is kind of fun,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, you're making me salivate, so let's not talk about that anymore.
All right, we won't talk about food. But, I also just want to send out, too, like, as far as being grateful, there's so many people, like, you have your inner circle and then you have the outer circle, meaning so grateful for our military, and that's the World Alliance. It's not just the American military and everybody who's out there fighting this war. of good and evil. You know, so grateful to the Q movement and everything like that, because that's brought so many of us together, but it's also allowed us to think and question much more, you know, that much more. Um, Obviously our health, because if, you know, we weren't healthy and we weren't figuring out how to get off the grid of the crazy petroleum based big pharma medical industrial complex, right? We're just all healthier and living better and able to help more people. And I'm just so grateful that I'm awakened, you know, for whatever reason, whether I chose to come here at this time or I was chosen to help everybody see things maybe in a different way, and just all the people that I have met, like our soul family. So, and everybody that is part of it, that watches us and follows us. So I'm really grateful today.
Yeah, I'm grateful too, and that is very well said. I concur with everything you just said. Now, just a couple of things. You said it was a lovely sunny day there. The temperature has gone up 2 degrees here, and I can't believe how much warmer it feels, just over 2 degrees. But I was
Yeah.
talking earlier about seeing 17s everywhere, and I've got a bedside clock. I bang my hand on the thing it's sitting on, and it comes on. You know, you just give it a tap.
Yeah.
And when I went to bed last night, it was 11:39, and then it flashed up 12 degrees. That's a 17. And when I woke up this morning, it was 7:23 and 14 degrees, which is a 17. And they are everywhere. Told you, didn't I, that I filled up my fuel tank a little while ago and all that. And I said, I want a really good sign for the universe today. Looked away, and when it clicked off like that, turned back, it was £17 and 17 pence.
Oh my gosh, like you can't make this up. And I was started telling you off screen, you know, going back probably to like, I would say 2016, 17 is when it really started. I just get bombarded with numbers. I mean, I'm very aware of numbers in general. I've become more aware, but between 11, all the 11, 11 and 1, 11 and 12, 12 and 10, 10, like, and then the double and triple and quadruple numbers that I see. And I think I was telling you a story. Sometimes I'm driving on the parkway and, you know, I'm looking at the road, but then like my eyes are kind of going, I'm seeing license plates and road signs and the clock, you know, and the mileage numbers, and the numbers are just constantly coming, you know, coming at me. And sometimes it gets overwhelming. Like I want to just shut my eyes for a minute and just recalibrate. But there's so many signs and so many synchronicities, and I think they're just getting more and more. And you know what's really funny? I don't know if you've noticed this. When I meet new people that aren't into numbers or, you know, looking for different signs or being receptive to them, as soon as I tell them, all of a sudden, very naturally, they start seeing it too.
Yeah, well, I've got a friend, he sent me some pictures and stuff, and he stopped my video. I've mentioned this before, didn't I? And he said, oh my God, look where I stopped it. I said, but there you go. You're starting to see these signs now as well. They're synchronicities, aren't they? And when you start looking at synchronicities as not a coincidence, you start, well, what does that sign mean? And what is that telling me? And it's the universe, God's source talking to us, isn't it? All the time.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. That's why I've got Stewie M333 there, because even before I was 10 years of age, my favourite number is 3. I didn't really know why. And then it was 33, and then it was 333.
Wow.
You know? And that's a lovely angel number, that as well. And I think I've always seen 3s and stuff like that to battle against the dark.
Well, how many times do you look up and it's like I see my birthday all the time. All the time. You know, just weird times I just look down, just look up at the computer, and I'm always seeing my birthday.
Yeah.
And then the number I see literally, Stu, I must see it 5 5 to 10 times a day, if that, for whatever reason, and I've looked it up and I'm very attached to it and I have researched it. My numbers that I see all the time are 844. And I just see them all, and it has some really beautiful meanings when I did a little research on what it means, and the which, you know, anybody can research, but it's very interesting what you're being communicated to understand. And most of these messages are always messages about, like, just about how many good things are really starting to happen in your life, or that are going to happen, or that you might not see it, but it's just amazing. And that's the only constant, isn't it? Like numbers. That doesn't matter where you're from, right?
Greg Reese, didn't he, posted a video about gratitude? Let me write that down, because I'm not sure if I put it in here for us to look at today, but I will go and find that. I could even find, look, as soon as we're talking about that, I could even find that now, because let me just search for the Reese report.
Yeah.
Because it is important to be grateful for these things, and all sorts of stuff, because I think the shit is going to go down soon, because we had 2 National Guard soldiers. I didn't mean to do that for soldiers. 2 National Guard soldiers shot. Right, so we've got all these things.
And what was that cross street? It was 17th
Street, and that, and there's so much to it, and it's. We knew things like this were going to happen, and potentially worse things to happen in the future. But let's just watch this gratitude video. I think I've got it on 1.2 speed, everything today, so it goes a bit quicker.
Gratitude also improves heart rate variability. Neuroscientists find that the medial prefrontal cortex and the anterior cingulate cortex are involved in the self-perception of one's life path, positive growth, motivation, and emotional intelligence, all the innate tools necessary to live a thriving and abundant life. And fMRI studies show us that when people express internal gratitude, bioelectric activation occurs in these same areas. Like an on-off switch, gratitude connects with the brain's reward center and creates a feeling of peace. It puts us in a state of mind that allows for better assessment and calm response, even while under pressure. Gratitude affects the brain's default mode network, or DMN, which is involved in self-identity, morality, and social relationships. With gratitude, the DMN becomes a more focused picture, which allows one to see more connections and opportunities as they occur in real time. Gratitude also improves heart rate variability, which gives more control over the parasympathetic nervous system. This allows for better impulse control, which inevitably leads to making better decisions. Gratitude also cultivates better sleep quality and lower inflammation. Gratitude not only feels good, it brings good things. No matter if you think it's merely perception or coincidence, or if you think it's luck, karma, or grace, whatever you want to call it, there is a predictable cause and effect when you practice gratitude. Your life inexplicably changes for the best. This is a law of nature that has been written about in most religious and esoteric traditions. In the Torah, there is Psalms 50:23, as a sacrifice of thanksgiving, honor me and show me the way to salvation. In the New Testament, Philippians 4:6-7 says that with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God, and the peace of God shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Perhaps the most direct version of this is found in the Quran's 14:7. If you are grateful, I will give you more. If you are ungrateful, punishment is severe. In Hinduism's Bhagavad Gita, if one offers with devotion, I will accept with love. In Bhakti, it is taught that gratitude and devotion evoke grace. In Buddhism, gratitude is a foundational practice that cultivates mindfulness and compassion and leads to blessings in your personal life. In Sikhism, daily gratitude is said to lift the spirit and bring about auspicious outcomes. Sufism teaches that gratitude attracts increased blessing. Yoga teaches that gratitude is a clear, luminous state of mind that draws grace and auspicious coincidence towards the practitioner. 33 in the Tao Te Ching says that contentment brings wealth. And in Hermetic traditions, the principles of correspondence and vibration teach that a grateful inner state has a resonance that attracts more experiences to be grateful for. Gratitude greatly increases opportunity, protection, guidance, harmony with others, self-sufficiency, and overall peace. This is true whether you choose to believe that it's just the neuroscience of having better control of emotions, clearer perception, and stronger social bonds, or if you believe that the world we live in resonates in response to the vibrations we generate. Either way, the more you give thanks, the better your life will be. According to research, the most common and effective practices are gratitude journaling, which can be listing just a few things 2 to 3 times per week, and practicing a form of gratitude meditation, of which there are many. Happy Thanksgiving, and thank you. Greg Reese reporting.
Yes. Now that's good, because if 33 brings wealth, I'm certainly wealthy of heart. I haven't got loads of dough, and we are doing this for free, aren't we? So, but I enjoy it at the moment. So I enjoy it very much. All our content will always be for free anyway. But if we can make some money out of it at some stage, that would be wonderful.
Helps us do more. So I want to just go back to gratitude really fast. So, you know, in my coaching practice, part of the one of the most important parts of what I do, no matter what anybody is trying to work on, whatever they're going through, right? If it's a life transition, if it's a divorce, if it's, you know, empty nest, it doesn't matter. What I teach, usually a couple of sessions in, is we spend a lot of time on how do you raise your vibration and how do you keep it in that high state. And the, you know, people are like, well, how do I do that? How do I change my frequency? And I'm like, the easiest way to raise your vibration is through gratitude. And that the reason that I explain in a very simplistic way is that think about when someone gives you something, a gift, right? Something special. You're filled with a like just a wonderful feeling, right? It's just, you feel the emotion of it. So when you think about and you put yourself in that position of thinking about all the things that you're grateful for, and they're not, like, we spoke about some pretty major things, but think about all the things you don't think about. Your eyesight, you know, that you could walk, just the fact that you're able to use your hands. Like, there's just a gazillion things that we should be grateful for. But when you think about that, it's the quickest way to raise your vibration and get you out of those low frequencies of, you know, fear and anger. So it's just an amazing part of being human to practice gratitude all the time and know that it's actually bringing you to the point where you can better manifest everything that you want.
Exactly. I just looked at the time and then while you were talking, at exactly 17 minutes. But all those, whatever you think about religion and these biblical books, there is certainly some wonderful stuff in all of them.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It's all the same. The messages run the same. So I don't know where you want to move from, but like, I have my shirt. I actually got this from Patriots Street Fighter. What?
Stand up and show us then.
Oh, okay. Save the kids.
Yes. Exactly.
And I don't know, but you know, we're like on Thanksgiving, as we're kind of having gratitude for so many things. Like, it makes you wonder about all the children, and not just children, just humans in general that have gone through the horrific, trafficking, being trafficked, exploited. I think it's so important for us not to forget every day that how grateful we should be, and what we can do to spread the knowledge of what's been going on. Do
you want me to play that bunny video first? Then
it's so disturbing, but I think we should, because people need to know.
Yeah, because if you've got to go early today, this is not nice, is it? But people are going to have to think. We know about all these anti-parties and the Rothschilds and stuff like that, but let's play this.
This is the real Bugs Bunny. They didn't hunt rabbits. They hunted children dressed as them. In 1899, deep in the Appalachian Mountains of Pennsylvania, wealthy Americans gathered at a private hunting lodge. They called it the Rabbit Hunt. Orphan boys in burlap suits, ears stitched high, hoods so tight they could barely see. The hunters, bankers, and factory owners waited with rifles and lanterns, drunk on whiskey. The boys were driven barefoot into frozen brush. One of them was Thomas, nicknamed Bunny for his teeth. They jammed a carrot between his jaws, a joke for the hunters. He chewed to keep from crying, his breath steaming in the cold. Dogs were released. Lanterns bobbed like cruel stars as the men closed in. Each time Thomas stumbled, the bark of hounds mixed with voices from the dark. "What's up, Doc?" Laughter followed. Rifles raised. Workers later uncovered his body in a shallow burrow, skin torn, half a carrot still clenched between his teeth. For the men, it was amusement dressed as tradition. For the children, it was a costume stitched for death.
Now, I have to say that I was telling you off camera that the adrenaline that goes through me of rage and anger, I can't even express. And so my question is, like, I'm always curious with whys and hows. How do we know, like, how do we know this? Like, these are old things, so they must have some records, right? I mean, that have been buried that are now becoming that are being disclosed.
Well, yeah, I mean, the people that do this sort of shit undoubtedly keep documented ledgers of it and all these sorts of things for their own sick amusement or whatever. And not all the people in these families are bad. This is why I think we've had a lot of these people defect and come over to the white hat side and tell the stories and leave the Illuminati and come out the Masons and these families and whatever. And yeah, this information is there. I mean, how much of the white hats, the NSA, the Q team got? We have it all.
Yeah,
I should say they have it all. I mean, if they've infiltrated Antifa, and if they've infiltrated Hollywood, and if they've infiltrated other things, they've also infiltrated these families and these anti-parties,
And like, you think about these institutions, like the orphanages, like all of these places where children they weren't traceable, right? Like, we heard the stories of in Canada with the native children. I think it was Queen Elizabeth and Philip went over there, and some of those kids were never seen again. Like, they pray. And even all the tests that we're finding out now that Fauci, right, he did on children, like, it's so incomprehensible that organizations, CPS, organizations that are supposed to be, protecting the most innocent, and they are doing the most god-awful things.
They're doing exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
Aren't they? They are cover institutions for nefarious activity.
Well, and it's crazy. And so also, like, we grew up, hearing how wonderful Mother Teresa was, right? And now you're finding out that, it's always like weird. If you look at some of these institutions, like you look at Big Pharma, right? If medicine worked, why are people sick and constantly refilling prescriptions? And if Mother Teresa was so great, how come nothing really ended? How come there wasn't like jubilation over how, the poverty and these children were helped? Like, you just heard how she was doing all this stuff, but what happened, right? Nobody ever asks, well, where did the children get placed? Were they adopted out? Where are the families that say, oh, she helped me and I went from here to there? And so we're finding out all these awful things. And then they canonize her, right? The church canonizes her. And then if you are willing to kind of go down the rabbit hole, then we find out that, in India, they've worked hard to get that title taken away from her because they're aware locally what was going on, right? But, nobody, the system was so strong with the way the media then, promulgates these stories even more. So now we're having a breakdown of the system. It's like what Laura said when she was on our show, that the system is starting to crack and break, and all of this stuff is coming to the forefront. But it's really hard for people to, I mean, we've been in this for a long time, so we just get pissed off that more people don't know about it, and they're still stuck in the system. But for us, we've accepted it. But for these people that are going to find out, it goes against everything they were ever taught, learned, heard.
Yeah. Well, what these people do is they put people on a pedestal for us to worship. We shouldn't worship anyone apart from our creator, right? Who are exactly the opposite of what they think. And many people say, if people, that Q drop, the truth is going to put 99% of the people in hospital. If people find out the God of the Bible that they've been praying to and worshipping is actually written in to be Satan, right? A lot of people, I think all religion is going to go, isn't it? At some
I
stage.
hope so.
And that would, I mean, I know it says unite humanity with the truth against the children, but if all of a sudden everyone found out that they've been lied to about their religions, surely wars would disappear, conflict would disappear. I think it's coming.
It really can't come soon enough.
Order. Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, but that's like saying, I want to see arrests and I want to perp walk and all this sort of stuff. And we can see how it's being done. And it's frustrating, you know, especially when you've been awake for you know, I didn't know why I was awake for first 20 years, you know, but doing this for like 25 years, and you've been doing it a long time as well. It's frustration that other people just don't get it, won't get involved, won't look at what you show them.
Yeah.
But that is all down to them, and it's gonna, however much effort you've put into this, it's the outcome is going to be much less or far worse for you personally, right? And this is why, even though people laugh and don't listen and joke and call you nutters and all this sorts of stuff, we still do what we do, because we want their pain to be less when it comes.
Yeah.
I think that's quite admirable for people like you and I to do, because we're not doing it for us. We're not doing it to be famous, sitting here, oh, it'll make loads of money. We're doing it because we want the truth out and everyone awake, so that we can all get on with a proper life in a non-open air prison,
right,
with no bills and free energy and talking to each other telepathically and maybe, and you know, all sorts of things like that.
Yeah. And being able to like not be on planes anymore, being able to get to locations, right? Like in 20 minutes, be across the country or across the pond, you know, be able to have a one world in the positive sense, not the way they envisioned, but pulling us all together, you know, where there are no kind of boundaries, and to being together and helping one another. So what else do we have on today? I know that was a really disturbing.
I've just got you and I have both got a little private group here. We've started November the 21st, so that was like a week ago. So we've got loads of stuff over the week that I was just going to go through in order and rattling on.
Yeah.
Just chat about it. It's good. It's documenting history. It gives people a good chance to see what's happened over the whole week, you know, that have been too busy to do what they do. You know, other shows go and really dive deep into these sort of like one topic and stuff like that. But I enjoy watching those as much as I enjoy sitting here with you, you know, discussing all this stuff. And we've got so many good guests coming on, haven't we? That it's, you know, it's just so nice just to sit back sometimes and not say much, or engage and have a really good conversation. So, yeah,
we've got some really cool. Should we announce some of the ones we just?
We did that on the last show, didn't we?
We got a pretty cool confirmation today, didn't we?
God, you can say that then. It's not until next year, but
it's not until sorry guys, but you know, everybody's schedule, some of these folks that we're having on have really busy schedules and doing so much for the cause. So we've got a super special guest coming on March 20th, which would be March 20th for anybody in Eastern and UK time. But the guest is from Australia. So technically it's also March 21st in Australia time. And that guest would be retired Lieutenant Colonel Ricardo Bossi. And he is going to honor us by coming on. So that's terrific. So March 20th, 2026, that's the latest. And we'll keep announcing things as they happen. But every time we get guests confirm, what Stu and I both do is we put it on our YouTube, you know, for the upcoming, because unfortunately Rumble doesn't let you put it on that far in advance. So you could always go there if you want to see the schedule of who's coming up and the dates. And then, of course, you know, when we stream it, it will get streamed to on Rumble.
Yeah, and what it does as well, when it's got upcoming lives, you and I have both set up our YouTubes the same. So I think you get 6 videos or something, and then it's got a little right arrow and it flips them along, gives you the next 6, but it only does that. If you actually click on the wording upcoming lives, it opens up and it shows you everything that's coming. So you can see all our guests coming on, but don't watch it on YouTube. We don't like them. Watch it on our Rumble channels. So yeah, let's just smash through a few of these videos, shall we?
Yes.
You put this one in. Right, I have to keep trying to mute myself.
Okay, I'll do the same.
The Foundation is the biggest organized crime family that I know of. For example, Hillary Clinton took money from the Russians to sell American uranium to Russia. She took money from the Saudi Arabians to sell Syria and Yemen to Saudi Arabia and to justify ISIS and protect ISIS. Hillary Clinton is probably the single most corrupt politician in U.S. history since Lyndon Baines Johnson. And as Secretary of State, money would come into the Clinton Foundation and U.S. support would go out. And by the way, the reason we have 1,000 military bases is not for military power. They're lily pads for smuggling. That is how CIA smuggles gold, guns, drugs, cash, and small children for the elites in the United States. War is a profit center, not just for oil. War produces body parts. It produces orphans. It produces all kinds of human goods that can then be trafficked. And the banks rely on war and drugs for their cash flow, for their liquidity.
Horrific, isn't it? He's such a legend, that man.
He really is.
We're going to hear more about him anyway. Trump is, we're still seeing these comms all the time. 8:29 p.m. Trump posted this. Communist mayor of New York, Zoran Kwame Mandani, has asked for a meeting. We've agreed for this meeting to take place in the Oval Office on Friday. Well, that happened, didn't it? And we saw that, and I've got some clips of that, I think. But it's amazing how these correlate to the Q drops and stuff. It's just, you know, you watch Rambo and Dave News Treason and Abson Stormy decoding this stuff all week long. It's just amazing stuff. So General Flynn posted this. This is a bit of Tucker. I'll just play them, shall I? And then we can have a little chat afterwards.
He pretended to believe he was a secret Russian agent, and then they entrapped him on a completely bogus perjury charge.
I've been assassinated by narrative, yet I'm still standing because I have a much deeper understanding of what it is that we're facing. What transparency does is transparency breeds trust. We cannot afford to have the people of this country not trust its intelligence community. We, the people, have to demonstrate a sense of courage, have to be accountable for what our actions. We've got to be accountable for the things we do. Stability is only temporary without good governance. Americans have woken up to the fact that we were on the brink of losing everything had Trump lost this election. I look at leadership and leaders as positive influences in our lives. Wow. Hey, thank you very much, Donald. We'll be in touch.
Thank you very
All right. God bless. Our nation is we are at grave risk. One man that lives in this house and lives up in the White House cannot do this alone. He cannot do this alone. Okay, that is going to require every single American to have what we say in the military is our duty and a responsibility to serve this nation. All of the people in this room understand what I'm talking about. It's everybody outside of this room. Every single American has a duty and a responsibility to stand up and serve because we are facing pure evil, and that evil is not going to go away because one man lives in the White House. It's not going to happen. In this country, we have one God, we have one nation, and we have one life. So make it matter. Make it matter. Give these guys here in this foundation, give them your full support because they're trying to make a difference for our country, for the law enforcement professionals that we have in this country. Make your life matter. Whatever you do tonight, fine. When you wake up tomorrow morning and you wake up over these next couple of days and you start thinking about, what are you doing in your life? What are you doing in your community? If you can't answer that question quickly, then you're not doing enough. You're not doing enough for this country. And I know that I'm preaching to the choir here, but there's a lot of people out there and there's a lot of people that we're live streaming to right now. Make your life matter. Make our country matter. Make the future of our country, give it your best shot. Because if you don't give it your best shot, ladies and gentlemen, we're not one generation away like Ronald Reagan said. We are not one president away. We are one election away. So we have got to make whatever it is that we do tomorrow morning, the next day, the next week, the next month, and the next year, we've got to make every single day matter. So Thank you very much to these great Americans, these great patriots, every single one of you. God bless you and God bless America. Thank you.
Local action equals national impact. It's what we say all the time, isn't it? That people have got to get involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. But things are happening. General Flynn is being put into the public spotlight again. You've seen that meme of Trump smashing the glass, don't you, with that hammer and General Flynn coming out. That's going to come in soon. There's a good chance. We don't know what about JFK Jr. Hello, Peter's friend.
Hello.
Wendy. Forgot what I was saying now. Yeah, I think General Flynn is going to be coming back into the White House thing at the moment. It is all being...
Yeah, it was a little removed. Like, it's like the characters are on stage and then they come off stage and then they're on stage and they come off stage. And I agree. Like, Sidney Powell was off stage for a while and now she's coming back.
Yeah, exactly. Right, this is start.
Now we have a Fox News alert. The Supreme Court just cleared the way for Trump to deport illegals even faster. The High Court ruled that Trump can use the Alien Enemies Act to send Venezuelan gangbangers to a mega prison in El Salvador. This is a huge ruling in Trump's favor and a major win for the country. After, as you know, D.C. Judge James Boasberg ordered a stop to the deportations. So this is pretty significant. These deportations, Caroline, can keep going.
This is a massive legal victory, Jesse, a massive victory for law and order and for our constitutional republic and the sovereignty of the United States of America. We called on the Supreme Court to rein in these activist judges like Judge Boasberg, who was completely out of line in trying to say that the president didn't have the executive authority to deport foreign terrorists off of our soil. We have always maintained the position at the White House that the president was well within his constitutional authority to do so. And this decision proves that President Trump and our administration have always been right from the beginning. He will continue to utilize the Alien Enemies Act to remove foreign terrorists and Tren de Aragua members, vicious gang members from American communities. And because of this ruling, the United States of America is a much safer place. Our team will get to work tomorrow to deport these heinous, violent foreign terrorists from our neighborhoods.
And you had another couple critical wins in the court with regard to Doge. Tell us about those. That seems to be making progress.
Yes, absolutely. There have been many wins that the mainstream media has failed to cover, particularly over the weekend. The Supreme Court also ruled that the president does, in fact, have the authority over federal funding, that he can dictate what funds can go out the door and what can't, so long as they are part of the executive branch. So we have always, again, maintained that every executive order the president has signed, every executive action that he has taken has been well within his executive authority. And Doge is doing a tremendous job at cutting back at the waste and the fraud and the abuse that have been ripping off American taxpayers, that have not been aligned with our interests here in our country. So we're going to continue the president's agenda. Again, he's well within his constitutional authority. And it's great to see the Supreme Court reining in these activist judges who are wearing robes, but are acting as judicial activists, not as real judges and real arbiters of the law.
All right. Lawyer's wrong. I can't believe a lawyer would ever be wrong. It just amazes me. They think they're always right. I guess not this time. Sorry, Boasberg. We love you, but we're sorry. Caroline, thank you.
Oh. I don't know why that went on like that. Yeah.
Wrong lawyer. Wow.
Yeah.
You didn't get me started on lawyers.
Oh, there's even some people saying Boasberg is our boy, right? Oh, he could be playing a part as well. But this bit here from Sean Ryan. Now, we were talking about this quickly, weren't we? That Sean Ryan has got a massive podcast, and he had the guy on who was chief of Sean Ryan here, and this guy was chief of the security detail at Charlie Kirk shooting. But what they say here is just, well, let's use the word retarded, I think. Listen to this.
Okay.
Into who knows how many pieces. The doctor, and again, this is not a non-disclosure violation, but the doctor came out there and told us. And then they also told chief of staff. So the bullet came in and hit the vertebra. And so it came in and then tore up everything in the wound cavity, hit the vertebra, crushed it, shattered it, turned, crushed the second one, turned, kept going down all the way. I think they said C6.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's like, why not put that info out? Why not put it out? And then
why wouldn't they put that out?
And Do me a favor. Don't make me do it. It's not my job. And so then it got to here, and you're exactly right. And then hit, I think, 6, and then fragged. And so explanation 101. What are you hiding? Yeah. It's like I'm sitting back here when people are saying we bombed him, or there's that wound. I'm like, hey, if somebody would, from an official capacity, would just release that. And I don't see how that could jeopardize a fair trial for a guy. And or somebody called the doctor. Somebody just called him.
I mean, what do you think about that? Because I'll take that back, retarded, right? Because if that did happen like that, that tells us it definitely wasn't a 30th 6, doesn't it?
Right.
You know?
See, I have a hard time, again, I'm not an expert in any of this. I'm just going strictly with my gut. I just feel the whole thing's a psyop, so I have a hard time with any of these details.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's to play both sides. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. To get people to investigate more.
Exactly. So I don't really look at too much as it relates to the investigation of all of that, because I think I'm a little too stuck in my view that that it wasn't really a real thing and it was a psyop.
Yeah, I totally agree. Whatever happens, well, that does not match the official story, does it?
Right, of course. So it's raising questions. I think that's very good, because you have to keep raising questions, because a lot of people are not using their critical thinking anyway.
Yeah, and that's why it's been put on Sean Ryan show, who's got a lot of followers, to get people to investigate that further. Yeah. But here's Roseanne giving a bit of love to people, just to hold the line, I think.
I just want to reassure everybody out there that even though it don't look much like it, things are turning so good. I'm going to try to explain more when I can condense it into brief sentences. But man, things are so good. They're getting so good. Everything's starting to go right and work the right way with no devil ozone. The devil ozone is being removed up there in the penthouse of thought. You're going to see things get real good real quick. Now you just hang on there. You're going to be fine. Just hang on a few more days.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, real good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, want to hit the next one?
Well, yeah, no, that's just there's nothing to it there. Just when the BBC lost more than 1 billion last year as a record. 1 in 8 British households refused to pay the licence fee amid a firestorm, which is great news, because we in the UK, we used to have all these adverts on the television about grey detector vans were coming round and they could tell if you were watching TV without a licence and all this stuff. I cancelled my licence about 4 years ago, don't even turn it on. If I want to watch a film, but I very rarely want to do that now. You know, put a DVD on, I can do that. You don't need a TV licence for that. But do I want to watch Hollywood movies? Because you don't know who's a serpent and who isn't. You know, but people are standing up, especially since this BBC got caught out for what we were telling everyone 4 or 5 years ago, doctoring Trump's speech. So it's great news. Do you have to pay for a licence over there? You're muted.
Sorry, we get cable, so it depends what channels you have. You know what I mean? So I don't have any of the typical networks.
Yeah.
So I just take streaming services, as I want them.
Yeah. Yeah. Now this one here, I don't need to play this video. This is from Bioclandestine. Trump's ally Mohammed bin Salman visited the White House Tuesday, the same day as MBS was arriving. The Dems started freaking out and telling the US military to ignore orders from Trump. What they're afraid of. What is MBS known for? The infamous corruption purge of 2017. That's when they invited everyone to that hotel, didn't they? 300 delegates and royals and stuff.
Yeah.
Aloid being the top serpent at that lot and the rest of them all. So they are afraid Trump is going to use the US military to replicate what MBS did in Saudi Arabia in 2017. MBS unleashed a massive anti-corruption military operation to detain and charge all the corrupt elites, senior military officers, politicians, billionaires, etc. MBS unleashed a great reckoning and drained the Saudi Arabian swamp. The Dems are afraid of Trump and the US military doing something similar to them. Well, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and we know that ever since they did the sword dance around Trump back in 2000, not sure, was that exactly 17 or the beginning of 18? I think it was 17. And on the capitulation tour, we know they've been working together. We know that there's a hell of a lot more going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, definitely. Right, and you know, Jason said, didn't he? But a lot of us are talking about it. Was the Insurrection Act signed when Trump did that? Proclamation is the word I was thinking of in the Rose Garden on J6 when he told everyone to go home in peace. You listen to Mike King talk about that all the time. He said the words, he had to do it, go home in peace, and all these things. Was it signed then? Some people say yes, some people say no, but are we going to see it publicly? And I think what this is all about, and Brian Clandestine said, Dems are panicking. Why are they encouraging active service members to disobey orders from Trump? Because they're afraid of Trump using the US military to do something significant. They know something big is coming. They fear the Insurrection Act.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's looking very much like that, isn't it? And we've got, this is the sort of main discussion this week about what's happening with these National Guards, 2 National Guards being shot, these Democrats coming out doing this insurrection talk, Trump putting out these sedition posts and all these sorts of things. It's all being put in the public narrative for one reason and one reason only. The fucking hammer is going to go down at some stage, and they need people on board with it rather than rioting, because it says in drop 34, doesn't it? I think, or 35, clean and swift, no civil war, no civil unrest.
Yeah, they have to build that narrative, and there's always those comms that are in there, those little breadcrumbs, like 17th, whatever street, avenue, like there's always things that are telling us so that we, as the more awakened and the Anons, don't get ourselves upset about certain things and understand it's part of the military operation. But for the people, you're absolutely right. This has to be done in a way that it's justified, for lack of a better word, and it doesn't look like, you know, it doesn't look like he's a dictator and things are being done that, you know, it's funny because you look at people and they have to make sure that they do things in such a way that people don't think that Trump's a dictator, right? Like that's kind of the fear. Amongst other things, but yet they could be told that they have to stand in line 6 feet apart and they have to go get a jab, and they can't decipher between which is truly being a dictator and taking away their rights and which is about protection to take down the deep state. So it's pretty interesting psychology of what we're dealing with so many people because of how deep the brainwashing and the mind control has been.
But this is why it's been pushed out to other people. This is why Jesse Waters and people, John Solomon and the news are doing it all. This is why General Flynn's putting his messages out, because QDrops 4 and 6, POTUS must remain neutral as people begin to get excited. I'll just show you, I've got my anonymous face.
Yeah, I was just seeing that when you, that's great.
Yeah. Right. So this is another video. This is, this was on Newsmax, but this is,
our military is not pawns. We're not in some game. This is deeply personal to me. This is the story of my platoon that got stuck. I mean, we got stuck in the middle of a political game just like this, almost got us killed, thrown in the brig, facing charges. At one point, The U.S. military considered turning us over, U.S. soldiers, over to the Iraqi court system so they could prosecute us where we'd likely be hung ourselves. Oh, you didn't hear about this story. Hold my beer. It's in this book. This is the story of how stupid political clickbait videos like Slotkin's have real consequences. You remember this guy from the movie American Sniper? This guy right here that was going around drilling holes in children's faces. In 2009, my platoon caught that guy in real life, the Butcher of Fallujah. He was also the man responsible for hanging 4 American contractors, one of which was a SEAL brother of mine, whose body was lit on fire, dangling from a bridge by his neck. My team caught that guy. We were authorized to use lethal force, and we exercised restraint to bring him back alive for the betterment of the mission, because we were one part, and we did it at great risk to ourselves. And because of orders, so he could be questioned by the CIA and save more lives. Imagine if we had violated that order. After all, we knew he killed one of our own, and he had a gun when we apprehended him. So honestly, like, Democrats, don't ever, ever lecture me and my people on restraint and decorum. And when we brought him back, the same people who sent us on that mission, they turned around and court-martialed us for abusing him in custody, which we clearly did not do, which was proven by our full acquittals almost immediately in a courtroom, all because politicians wanted to have the talking point that they stood with the Iraqi people over their own soldiers. And the generals, whose promotions need to be approved by the Senate, people by like Mark Kelly and Alyssa Slotkin, they bent the knee and they sacrificed me and my team at the altar of their political correctness. And you know what it did? It made every soldier in Iraq and Afghanistan second guess everything. Hesitate to prosecute that IED. How many people did that kill? Apprehending terrorists, or even pulling the trigger when they needed to. Hesitated for their own safety in a courtroom that might not come. Stuff like this gets people killed. It creates stupid rules of engagement, some of which killed my friends personally, because they want to play political grandstand games with no intention of ever backing the soldier up when he does the bidding that they subtly encouraged. This is why people hate politicians. They pop off like there's some moral authority without listing a single specific thing that Trump has done illegally.
Makes you think of Phil Tawney, that, doesn't it? And just to let everyone know that Phil will be on Tuesday, is it, next week?
Yeah.
Yeah, he went to rescue his friend, and his friend's okay. I don't think his car's too well, and I don't think the deer's too well either.
Yeah, but his friend is okay, thank goodness. That was a really powerful video. Now, that gentleman that was just talking, is he is a regular on Newsmax?
Well, yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, his name is Carl Higby, if people want to look into that.
Yeah, because he's got a great story.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe you can get him on the show.
That's what I'm thinking. And what was the name of the book? I sort of said honor, and then it flashed off this screen. Do you remember?
Loves the Constitution.
No. Did it?
No.
It was.
I think it was on the screen for like a minute, but when he was standing up.
Honor and Betrayal by Patriots.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got that?
Got it. All good.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Here's another bit of Roseanne.
Eat babies. That is not bullshit. It's true.
So it's not just the dogs and the cats, not just the pets.
It's not just the dogs and the cats. They're full-on vampires. And everybody still thinks I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. They're full-on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh and they drink human blood. They do, Tucker. Stop staring at me like that.
You're freaking me out, man. Because you spent your life in the entertainment business, so I think you have some authority on this.
So many kids that I was in mental institutions with over the years, they are all from those cults. And they've covered it all up. They've covered it all up. And, you know, I just pray to God. I'm just going to pray to God that he opens everybody's eyes in this country. No.
Watching things like that, there's no coincidence, is there, that all this stuff being pushed out, and I think it's by the White Hats or making these people do it, about all these spirit cooking dinners and stabbing yourself in that middle finger and a bummer wearing plasters, do you know what I mean? And that Maria Abramovich with all the blood everywhere and her paintings and modern art.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all being pushed into the public psyche, isn't it, for these things that are going to come down?
Well, that's just it. They're trying to, let people slowly hear this stuff because it's serious.
Exactly. Now, Eric Swalwell's running for governor of California, isn't he? Now, we all know a lot of stuff about him, but it looks like is anyone going to vote for him? Why is he being pushed into the public spotlight? Shall we watch this?
Yeah.
What do we do? What are we going to do? How do you stop this? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. I love California. It's the greatest country in the world. Greatest country in the world. But that's why it pisses me off to see Californians running through the fields where they work from ICE agents or troops in our streets.
It's horrifying.
It's horrifying.
It's absolutely
or cancer research
horrifying.
being canceled. It's awful to look at. And our state, this great state, needs a fighter and a protector, someone who will bring prices down, lift wages up. And we can say that we're the 4th largest economy in the world, and we are, and I love to brag about that. But what does that mean if you can't afford to live here? So I've been in these fights as a city council member up in Dublin, my hometown, as a prosecutor in Oakland, and taking on the most corrupt president ever in the US Congress. But I'm ready to bring this fight home. So I came here tonight, Jimmy, to tell you and your audience that I'm running to be the next governor of California.
I mean, what I was going to say there, there might not even be an audience there, and that's just audience noise.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
But you don't know if that audience is part of the 60,000 secret army. Do you know what I mean? Just playing this stuff out. It would be better if they were all booing him, though, wouldn't it?
It would, but I think we probably could assume that Jimmy Kimmel is very controlled at this point.
Yeah.
And they're just using it. And like you said, we don't know what we're seeing anymore. Everything's part of the movie. And I'm just giving a heads up. I have like 2 minutes more, unfortunately, because I have to go and get my food in order and get ready to go out. But maybe we could watch this. And then I think you're going to continue for a little while, Stu.
I'll just get through it all on my own. We might as well just do that. If you're going to leave me and go and have a nice dinner and fun and all these things and cook and be jolly without drinking any alcohol, obviously, for you.
Right. Yeah. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I'm one of those boring people.
You ain't boring. But yeah, this is Trump's a legend. You see, Mamdani was asked about calling Trump a fascist. Trump is the GOAT.
He asked about your comment calling the president a fascist, and your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay, you can just say yes. Okay. That's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
I love it.
He's a master, isn't he?
He's so amazing. It's great. All right, well, I'm going to love and leave you. In the immortal words of Charlie Ward, who always says that. And then we're back on tomorrow. I think it's 10:30 Eastern with Carol Maureen Friesen from the Lightworkers Institute in Costa Rica.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool. All right, well, much love to everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. And Stu, I'll catch up with you later. I'll send you some pictures of the food.
Oh, thanks very much. All right.
All right.
See you later. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See ya. Thank God she's gone. Jokes. I love working with Elisa. Teamwork makes the dream work. Right, there's a little video here about Meghan Markle and Princess Diana. It's a bit weird, really. I mean, a lot of people think about Markle, don't they, as a bit strange anyway in the relationship with Harry, but
up the newspaper and then he's got Meghan pretending to be his mother again. It's honestly psychotic. It's twisted. It's just not normal.
It's actually so freakish and disturbing now that we have to talk about it. Meghan Markle's cosplaying of the late Princess Diana in Harper's Bazaar has caused international derision, actually, because this is no longer deniable. As the controversial Milo puts it, the creepiest, most sinister, most wretched person on the face of the earth, and our very own, according to Taz. Oh, Lordy, how can people not see that she cosplays Diana? It's beyond creepy. But Tasha's with me, and this has divided attention, actually. But Tasha's with me on the fact that actually Harper's Bazaar were not doing a good job for Ms. Markle. She said, yeah, they did her dirty. I can only presume she must have upset someone at that magazine. She doesn't look edgy. She looks awful. She can really look beautiful, but this ain't it. I'm not reading the article. I'd honestly rather have a root canal. And according to Taz, Tasha Canal joins me now. Tash, I mean, the Diana thing now is actually psychologically troubling. This is a very, very sick woman. I think Harper's Bazaar need to take a good hard look at themselves for agreeing to go along with this. And it's like the fact that Prince Harry can't see what she's doing, because of course it's in the same week that she's cosplaying Diana over the fact that she now has a sidekick in her life. It's like, come on, Tash.
Yeah, you caught that as well, Dan. Yeah, the psychic. Of course she's got a psychic, because Diana, it was reported that she relied on psychics. It was the same as when Meghan put her hands to Diana's tombstone, didn't she? And she was channeling her, and she asked Diana for guidance and all of that stuff. I mean, there's definitely psychological issues at this point. I think anybody looking at it, you cannot deny what she's doing. Now, I believe with the fashion shoot, I believe that Meghan likes to direct everything. If we remember with the Edward Enninful fallout, apparently her list of demands, everything she wanted was so big they wouldn't even have given that to Beyonce. I think Meghan directs herself. She tells them the looks she wants to do, the positions she wants to do, because she does a lot of the stuff that we've seen her do in previous years. And she copies. She has no original thoughts. So I don't know if they would have recognized something as similar with Diana with that, or whether they went along with it, because obviously it gets everybody.
Interesting stuff, isn't it? Now, do we think that Meghan is a nutter and deranged, or is she capitulated and being made to do these things? Bicameral thinking here. Everything you see, you have to look at it from both directions. Who's in control of that? Are the black hats doing it, or the white hats making her do it? You know, and that's every situation, everything I see, I always think, this is why a lot of people black pill so much and panics as soon as they see a story. It's normally crap on, you know, clickbait from Instagram or Facebook. But yeah, so this was Dave Newstrom, no, Melissa Redpill. So is Mandami Trump's man? Well, it looks like it could well be, couldn't it? Because here's another 17.
Really succeed, and we're going to be helping him. But he's different than, you know, your average candidate. He came out of nowhere. I said he has a great campaign manager standing over there. He came out of nowhere. What'd you start off at 1 or 2? And then I watched. I said, who is this guy? He was at 1, then he was at 3, then he was at 5, then he was at 9. Then he went up to 17. I said, that's getting a little bit interesting, right? And then all of a sudden he wins a primary that nobody expected he was going to win. It's a great tribute. I mean, it's an amazing thing.
17s again. I don't know. Every time I hear one, I feel quite rosy, and certainly makes you think, doesn't it? This is like a bummer 2.0. Oh, and just want to say as well, I know Wendy there, Peter's friend, is from Leon C. But if anyone does come in the chat, just let me know where you're from. I am England. Elisa is Long Island, New York.
From him back in 2013. You know, this was after he was on the sex offender list. Any comment on that? And will you be holding members accountable, regardless of party affiliation, if there were any misdeeds related to the Epstein?
Was that a serious question or a serious statement from malignant clown James Comer, that I had Jeffrey Epstein over for dinner, that I accepted money from Jeffrey Epstein? What's extraordinary to me about the clown show on the other side of the aisle is that they lie with impunity on things that are objectively verifiable. And why do they do that? It's because for months, Republicans have been burying the Jeffrey Epstein files, not Democrats. Our view continues to be the same. We want to make sure that what the survivors have asked for, which is full and complete transparency in order to bring about accountability, actually happens. And Congress decisively and in a bipartisan way acted yesterday with respect to the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. That's a victory for the survivors and a victory for the American people. And Donald Trump needs to sign that bill into law expeditiously.
Is he a swamp creature, or is he acting like one? We know what makes a good movie, don't we? Great actors. Yeah, but they are terrified in this clown show and the Epstein files and everything else is coming. And then a church in Charlotte, is that North Carolina, is teaching the elderly how to blow whistles and film ICE agents during detainments. Yes, this is a real video. This is from Melissa Redpill as well. This is retarded.
It's already started, as we said. People have been doing the same thing. This was an event at a church there on Monday night. People acted out immigration detainments, and the rest of the room practiced filming them and making noise to call attention to them.
You got to say, haven't you? If you're one of the people out there, and I know everyone is in the chat watching this movie, it's hilarious, isn't it? And who misses Joe Biden? He was a great part of this, wasn't he? The actor Joe Biden, not that old one with the hair like that. That one. I'm not going to read all this out. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation letter, 4 pages. But at the end of her resignation letter, she said there is no plan to save the world or insane 4D chess game being played. Well, it's interesting that she said that, isn't it? When most of us do know that there is a plan unfolding and there is a 4D chess game being played. And hello from Texas and hello to Ohio. Brilliant. And General Flynn came out the next day and made a Twitter post, I think, talking about 5D chess. Lots of people have been digging into these abs and storming and stuff. But there we go. Look, here's Macron talking with a map upside down.
Et depuis 3 ans, on a en effet la guerre dans cette zone que vous voyez, qui est en rose un peu plus foncé. Et ce qui est limité en jaune là, eh bien, c'est ce que la Russie veut conquérir en quelque sorte. Et donc vous voyez que depuis 3 ans, c'est sur un petit, au fond, théâtre de jeu que les choses se passent. Mais cette guerre est terrible parce qu'elle fait depuis 3 ans, en ce moment même, environ 1000 morts par jour sur le théâtre d'opération. 1000 morts par jour, de part et d'autre.
Didn't even flinch, did he? He could see that map's upside down. And he just carried on reading it. So, there you go. Is Macron a complete clown? We know all this stuff is coming out with Candace now that she said she's got documented evidence and stuff that the Macrons have put a hit out on her and all these sorts of things. So it's interesting watching that. Wendy. Oh, yes. That's made me chuckle, that. Or is he being made to do that by the White Hats? Magic. I love those comments. They kept me company while Elisa's gone. Yeah, and the White Hats making him doing this. And don't forget as well that when we've seen most of these people, the Swamp, Pelosi and all these things, well, not Pelosi so much because she's drunk half the time. Or is she? Most of these people, when they're reading in these Congress meetings and all these sorts of things, they are all reading from scripts. So it's not too far to imagine, is it, that they've capitulated and are doing what they've been told. We've seen this new thing on Twitter now, haven't we? The fact that if you click on joined, I think it brings up where these accounts are, where your account is based in the country, your country of origin. And we're seeing loads of these things come up now that, you know, it was was it Department of Homeland Security or something like that? Their account was based in Israel. Don't quote me on that because I think that's wrong, but it's good to see. I don't need to play that. That's Q the Storm Rider giving us an update. You can watch all this on my Telegram. If you do go on my Telegram, all my little videos, I've got one at the end, Ricardo Bassi and John Michael Chambers, that I did. I make loads of little videos like that. They all go on my Telegram channel. All these big, longer shows go on Rumble, but all my little videos, and they're all pinned to the top of my Telegram channel, which is there, if anyone's not already on it. Stu's News. So that's good to get in now. Right, hide that. Right, we've got a couple of it took me a while to find these videos as well. It's these new anonymous ones, because we heard, haven't we, that, you know, Anonymous was infiltrated a long time ago, did the dark side take it over and all these sorts of things. But these is deep fake quotes, this account is on Twitter, and they're putting out some fantastic videos. I think I've got a couple of those to play.
Democrat lawmakers look directly into the camera, not to address the American people, not to debate on the House floor, but to send a message to the United States military to disobey unspecified presidential orders. And the president responded directly. It's called seditious behavior at the highest level. Each one of these traitors to our country should be arrested and put on trial. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. We won't have a country anymore. An example must be set. President Donald J. Trump. Sedition attacks government authority. Treason attacks the survival of the nation. Let me be clear. What these congressional members did was not criticism. This was not oversight. This was civilian politicians speaking past the Constitution, straight to the armed forces. For 249 years, there has been a sacred boundary. Civilians do not encourage the military to weigh the legitimacy of the president's orders. Congress debates, courts review, elections correct, but the chain of command between commander-in-chief and armed forces must remain unbroken. Once lawmakers enlist the military against the president, the republic crosses into dangerous territory, because history shows this is exactly how governments fracture. So we are left with the most serious constitutional question. Did these lawmakers merely undermine a president, or did they attempt to undermine the country itself by encouraging the military to defy civilian authority? My friends, we are all anonymous, and if this is ignored by the judiciary and legislative branches, it will get worse. And if nothing is done, the only peaceful remedy the Constitution gives the people is the ballot box.
Let me just remove that for a minute. I just want to say I love these comments coming in, and anything like this, you know, Wendy and stuff. When I did the last show with Jason, it deleted a lot of the comments, and I couldn't see them all, but I managed to see about 200 comments, and I am saving them because I'll just show you this. I can do that. If anyone goes on my website, it's really good. You can click on there. It's got about me and stuff, but I've got friends thank yous in here, and I've got loads of friend incoming boxes that I'm going to put comments in. So if anyone wants to write me a nice comment, that would be absolutely wonderful, and I will be adding you to my website. And the other thing is as well that Elise has got a couple of affiliate programs going, and it doesn't really work for me in the UK. And I've been doing this nearly 25 years now, and I've never earned a penny for anything I do. And all my content will always be free. I'm not putting anything behind a paywall or anything like that. I don't like that. If we're trying to get the truth out, it is essential that we get the truth out to people who can't afford to watch it or anything. But if anyone did want to donate to me, I've got a donate page on my website as well. Buy me a coffee, PayPal, and some crypto addresses there. I've had one donation so far from a friend of £17, and I am very much appreciative of that. Right, where's mine and Lisa's little Patriot across the pond group? Right, I just played that one, didn't I? So Epstein transcripts, they are coming. Queen Elizabeth II was a client of Jeffrey Epstein. Bombshell document claims. I posted that on Facebook. And it was silence. Because the more this truth comes out, the more the people that have crazy tinfoil hatter. Oh, I've got something for them. Because I am proud. Lewis Erms has got one like this. So I'm proud to wear this. I won't wear it the whole show, don't worry. But that is my tinfoil trilby, or whatever it is. But, yes, so the Queen is in the documents. Right, we've got one more deepfake video here.
87. Activities affecting armed. Many are asking whether this was sedition or treason. But there is a third statute, one that fits their actions with mathematical precision. 18 U.S.C. Section 2387. Activities affecting armed forces. It prohibits, and this is word for word, advising, counseling, urging, or in any manner causing or attempting to cause insubordination, disloyalty, mutiny, or refusal of duty by any member of the military. Penalty, up to 20 years in federal prison. This law is not retaliatory politics. This law is not about defending one man. This law is about defending civilian control of the military, the backbone of the republic. And this law has been violated.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community.
This was a group of lawmakers, including former CIA, speaking directly to the military, undermining the authority of the commander-in-chief, and by extension, every general, every officer, every enlisted soldier down the line. Break the chain at the top and you break the entire military. Break the military and you break the nation. Yes, it's that serious. The individuals responsible should face consequences, censure, expulsion, prosecution, not because of who they attacked, but because of what they endangered. My friends, we are all anonymous, and to my Democrat friends, ask yourself honestly, what will it take for you to leave your party? Because the party you once knew no longer exists.
Yeah, exactly. There's a comment here, Wendy. So many people love the Queen. That's a hard pill. Totally agree. And two things on that. The fact that there's so many elderly people in this country that have been lied to their whole lives, still fast asleep and watch the BBC and all this other crap. And this is why this slow rollout has to be done like it, because there's so many people that would just have heart attacks and stuff if this happened. And Elisa made an amazing point the other day that I hadn't thought about. The fact that if we think these jabs are sort of saline solution and stuff like that, or hydroxychloroquine or whatever, a really good thing, is the fact that if all of a sudden you stopped all COVID jabs and flu shots, right, that could potentially cause more damage to the elderly generation because of their fear, because they're, still not awake. I mean, everyone's heard at least something, or 98% of people have heard one of us nutters talking about these things. But it sort of does make sense that they've got to keep putting this injection out to the elderly generation. So it makes sense. G-Money, I don't post much because he is much of his stuff, because he is Bitcoin's the only one, everything else is a shit coin. I understand his view and stuff and his research, but this is what I was saying. The Department of Homeland Security X account is based in Israel. The Trump tweet: we are taking trillions of dollars in tariffs and investment dollars and foreign lands because of tariffs. I have stopped 5 of the 8 wars directly because of the threat of tariffs. If they don't stop fighting, or better yet, if they start, there is almost no inflation, and the worst in USA history under Sleepy Joe Biden. And the stock market just hit an all-time high for the 48th time in 9 months. To to Leonard Leo, Koch, and all the other countries and slime balls that have ripped off the United States of America for years through the use of their own tariffs. We don't have a court system that's going to let you destroy our country any longer. This is the richest, strongest, most respected the USA has ever been. November the 5th, and tariffs are the reasons why. Thank you for your attention to this matter. This is how President Trump is destroying the cabal, by cutting out the middleman. It's genius. The whole plan is, genius. The traitors that told the military to disobey my orders should be in jail right now, not roaming the fake news networks trying to explain that what they said was okay. It wasn't, and never will be. It was sedition at the highest level, and sedition is a major crime. There can be no other interpretation of what they said. This is all being set up, I believe, for military is the only way. When this shit goes down, you've got to have as many people on board as possible. We've talked about Antifa mapping and taking all these people out, and no civil unrest, clean the SWIFT and stuff like that. You can read that on the screen while I've been waffling on. Julian Assange is reportedly seeking a meeting with President Trump to expose further corruption among Democrat elites. Excellent. There's Swalwell again. I don't want to play that. He's a bit of a numpty, isn't he? You've got what's his name? I'll just play a little bit of it because I can't think of his name running around.
Yes, bang, bang. The evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard—
American dream possible. We will fight hard for the freedom to vote.
What in the hell is this? The chairman tweets, "Protect our ducks and kittens in Ohio," because he goes down some crazy rabbit hole, completely debunked that aliens are eating pets. My God, are you okay, Mr. Chairman? Because last year, for a very long time, you tweeted and promoted Kanye West as he was calling for genocide against the Jews, and you kept it up. And now, when we have victims coming here, you're tweeting this nonsense. I don't know why you would do this. I hope you're okay. I don't know if the aliens who are eating your ducks are in the room with us right now, but Mr. Chairman, this is a serious issue. Guys, No Kings Rally is just a couple weeks away. I've partnered with No Kings here. Check out our merch, and I'll see you throughout.
Eric, is this Fang Fang the Chinese spy, Eric? Remember when you slept with that Chinese spy, Eric? Why don't you ever talk about that, Fang Fang? Remember you're banging Fang Fang? Did she give you anal? People are saying that she gave you an insertion. Is that true? This is the guy's banging Chinese spies. Nobody investigates you, Eric. Why is that? Nobody investigates this guy banging Chinese spies like it's no big deal.
Yeah, excellent. Nice. Byron Donald's there.
Anything like that. So now they're going to feign outrage because Donald Trump responded to their words that do yield to insurrection? Please. Stop. No. And this is where I'm going to push back. Because what they are doing is trying to throw literally a grenade into the room. It goes off. And then they're going to claim outrage? They have no moral standing to claim outrage because they decided that they were going to be cute and put out a TikTok video trying to get likes, trying to demonstrate that they're tough enough to stand up to President Trump when Donald Trump is the commander-in-chief, not Mr. Crow, not Senator Slotkin. They are not the commander-in-chief. And like I said before, they would not tolerate any Republican launching any video like that when Barack Obama was president of the United States. You know it's true. I know it's true. Everybody knows it's true. But now they want to feign outrage and have everybody come and ask them how they feel. Man, stop. We're tired of the games and the charade. The American people are looking for real answers on energy, on immigration, on affordability, but they want to be cute. So yeah, I'm not going to give them any standing about, well, how do they feel? That's BS. They knew what they were doing. They created a political stunt to get a response. And they didn't like the response.
In terms of what the president said,
are you comfortable? Yeah, right. Look, I think when it comes to Florida, we've been clear in our state. We do not want to drilling off of our coastline. And so we're going to work with the administration to still protect Florida's coastline.
So, are you comfortable with what the president said, suggesting that members of Congress should be put to death?
No, but the president also said that they should have to actually stand by. You have to investigate those words. What they're calling for is sedition. 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 Let me ask you a question. What are the penalties of sedition in the United States of America? What are they? The president's not calling for it, but they're the ones that started this foolishness. And I will grant you, this is a foolish political stunt created by people who are trying to get their name ID up, who are trying to demonstrate that somehow they're the standard bearers for our constitutional republic when their own words are in violation of our constitutional republic. You cannot have elected members. I don't care about your politics. This is not even a political deal anymore. You cannot have elected members tell our military men and women, tell members of our intelligence community that you don't have to follow orders from the commander-in-chief. That is nuts. And as people who actually put the uniform on and serve this nation, they should know better. But they're playing politics. That's what's wrong.
Can I ask you about the controversy on two of your colleagues from Florida, Corey Mills and Sheila Sherfels McCormick?
Right.
Where are you in both of those cases? What do you think about both of them?
As I stand right now, the allegations are terrible. They're going to be investigated by the Ethics Committee, and we'll see what the results of the Ethics Committee are going to come back with. These are things that should be investigated. And so we'll see where that lands, but the allegations are not good.
And on Congresswoman McCormick, should she be expelled from Congress?
The ethics, based upon the current standard where Mr. Santos was expelled, when the Ethics Committee came back with their report and finding and the members made a decision, then yeah. All right, thanks.
We can see how it's all being set up. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there in America. And I don't know if you saw my t-shirt. That's my wanted for president. That's Dylan Nursmore. I did that. And then I had it made into a t-shirt. But this is interesting, as most things are.
Danny will owe his success to Trump.
Affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay, you can just say yes. Okay.
Well, I see people are confused, but Trump didn't legitimize Mamdani. He actually neutralized him. This is how. Mamdani is a new political power in the American left. Trump understands that. A power that is anti-Zionist, socialist, anti-Semitic, activist-driven. And this power is admired by young liberals, by Muslims, the old new BFFs. And they believe that they are the moral guardians of justice, of human rights. And that's the entire political identity of Mamdani. He sees himself as the oppressed protector. Now, Trump understands the trap. He could have gone after him, escalate the conflict. This is exactly how he will strengthen Mamdani. Because for Mamdani's voters, attacking Mamdani is attacking human rights, is attacking the oppressed. So Trump decided that he's not going to be the villain in Mamdani's script. That's it. So he praised Mamdani's campaign, talked about living in New York under Mamdani, and he stayed completely calm. He did not give Mamdani what Mamdani needed, the white supremacist Republican punchline. And when Mamdani repeated the lie about the genocide in Gaza, Trump didn't react. He didn't take the bait. I didn't like it either, but that's the tactic. You don't give them drama. And now for the genius part. If New York succeeds, Mamdani will owe his success to Trump, the so-called fascist. And if New York will collapse, Mamdani will not be able to claim sabotage. He will not be able to blame Republicans. And he will not be able to use this victimhood narrative that the left survives on. You see, Trump took his entire narrative away from him in one meeting. So bottom line, Trump sent Mamdani back to his voters with no conflict. And conflict is what Mamdani needs to survive. Because the left lives on outrage, on oppression, on moral drama. They need someone to fight in order to survive. And it's so identical to what's happening in Gaza. On October 7th, when Hamas and the Palestinians broke into Israel, they knew they're not going to win. But they knew that Israel will retaliate. And this is how their narrative will survive, by making Israel the oppressors and them the victims. Anyway, Trump just removed the oppressed card from Mamdani's hand. Damn.
Yeah, what we're seeing play out is genius, isn't it? And that is if, of course, you believe that Mamdani is a wrong one, or is he working for Team Trump, putting his narrative out? Are we going to have to see New York descend into a bit of a shithole status? We shall watch and see. General Flynn, if President Donald J. Trump designates the Muslim Brotherhood a terrorist organisation, I'll start chiselling his likeness on Mount Rushmore. For the unfamiliar, the Muslim Brotherhood is an Islamist group founded nearly a century ago in Egypt, but with chapters, parties and affiliated movements around the world to include inside the United States of America. They present a hazard to our way of life. The Muslim Brotherhood's motto is Allah is our objective. The Prophet is our leader. The Quran is our law. Jihad is our way. Dying in the way of Allah is our highest hope. Sharia law is not compatible with our constitutional republic. Thank you for being strong, POTUS. Yeah, so lots of General Flynn stuff. Now, Trump went on a massive truthing spree. Yeah, look at that. Get the popcorn out. I've got a few bags. I keep having to go and buy new bags because they're going out of date because I've had them for quite a while, but I'm stocked up. Yeah, so Trump went on a massive truthing spree, didn't he? You know, if your justice system has been corrupted, how do you bypass the corruption? Military tribunals. The military is the only way. He posted these. For congratulations, Spiritual Street Fighter 17 on your 42nd, 43rd, 44th, 45th. This is that one there. Nothing can stop what is coming. Do it, Q, on his lapel. I've got a good video that I'm going to play at the end. I did a little video of Bosey and John Michael Chambers, so I'm going to play that at the end. It's 9 minutes long instead of a outro today. But it will be a sort of outro anyway. Q plus, Trump's collar there. Remember your oath. I'll tell you what I'll just do, because I have got in my media assets the first 38, I think Trump did. So for anyone who hasn't seen those, where is that now? It's bear with me. What the fuck? I'll find those in a sec. Yeah, and this is, you know, going into some of the Q drops, the TikTok. So it's all correlating. Are you ready to serve your country again? It brings feeling into it, doesn't it? So much. Let me find something on here for you to read while I'm doing this. So yeah, Homeland Security. So X-activated locations last night, which showed US government accounts like the DHS opened and operated for Israel. And 20 minutes later, X deactivated the feature, and today government accounts are exempt. Let's play this now. I can find that other one.
The House Oversight Committee has officially informed Bill and Hillary Clinton's attorney that they must appear for depositions on December 17th and 18th in Washington. The committee approved the subpoena on a bipartisan basis back in July, and now Chairman James Comer says no more negotiating terms. The time has come for the former first couple to tell Congress what they know about Jeffrey Epstein. So the bill to release the Epstein files that was signed by President Trump this week is just one part of Congress's multifaceted investigation into Jeffrey Epstein and his sex trafficking ring. In July, the House Oversight Committee sent subpoenas to multiple former government officials from both Democratic and Republican administrations, demanding they be deposed under oath. The Clintons received the subpoenas and tried to negotiate. They said they can provide written answers to questions. But committee chairman James Comer officially informed them Friday morning that won't cut it. In a letter sent to Clinton attorney David Kendall, Chairman Comer wrote, "Your suggestion that your client's testimony would not be relevant to the stated purposes of the committee's investigation because the events in question took place outside of the Clintons' respective official duties misses the committee's point. It is precisely the fact President Clinton and Secretary Clinton each maintain relationships with Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell in their personal capacities as private citizens that is of interest to the committee. If the Clintons do show up on the 17th and 18th, they will likely answer questions in private, and the committee will release a video of certain answers." Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna wrote on X, "If the Clintons defy their subpoenas, there's only one thing to do. Jail time. That may not be an empty threat." Democrats subpoenaed former Trump administration officials Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro during the January 6th investigation. When they refused to comply, Democrats sent criminal referrals to President Biden's Department of Justice, which secured convictions that led to prison time.
Precedent set. So remember when Bannon went to jail? This was all a big setup, right, for this time now. So they cannot, the left and the Dems, say you're a dictator, you're doing all this. It's all a big setup. And you remember when Bannon went to prison? How long was he in there? 3 months, something like that. He came out, he had one of the best tans you've ever seen. Like he hadn't been in prison at all. He was actually laying on a nice hot beach somewhere. So all these things need to be taken into consideration. Everything comes down to this: the protection and proliferation of the jury slave system. As long as politicians don't divide this, they can't argue about nonsense until they're blue in the face. Nothing will.
He wrote a book called Tragedy and Hope. There are two books in American history that were so censored that they destroyed the printing plates. And both books talked about the same group of people. The first book was Banking and the Money Trust by Charles Lindbergh, not the father of the baby who was kidnapped. He was the grandfather, and he may have taken on the banks in Wall Street more aggressively than any other person in America in the 20th century. Look at what he said about the Federal Reserve Act. This act establishes the most gigantic trust on earth. When the president signs this bill, the invisible government by the monetary power will be legalized. The people may not know it immediately, but the day of reckoning is only a few years removed. The worst legislative crime of the ages is perpetrated by this banking bill. And when he tried to warn America, they censored the book and destroyed the printing plates. Well, fast forward to 1966, and you have this Georgetown professor, Carroll Quigley. He wrote a book called Tragedy and Hope. And Quigley claimed to have all of this insider information about the power structures that really run the world. And he named a lot of the same people that Charles Lindbergh exposed. J.P. Morgan, the Warburgs, Jacob Schiff, the Rockefellers, Benjamin Strong. Quigley would add John Cecil Rhodes, the Rothschilds. He talked about secret societies. And just like Lindbergh, Quigley's book would be censored and the printing plates destroyed. And before he died, Quigley talked about this in interviews. But isn't it interesting that both books talked about the banking powers, and both were not only censored, but the printing plates destroyed. And this is why I write children's books on that same banking system and about how information is controlled, because our parents and grandparents didn't have access to this type of information. But with the internet, we've become the generation of the Great Awakening. But the way that we win, the way that we build the country that we deserve, is to make sure that the children of the Great Awakening grow up knowing the truth. I got my private homeschool community, and Cubs to Bears, books, classiclearner.com.
Yeah, we're doing it all for the children, aren't we? We know what we're doing. This is a big deal. It was largely gone unreported in the MSN. The big four meat packers, JBS, Cargill, Tyson Foods and National Beef, currently dominate 85% of the US beef processing market. Two of these companies are either foreign owned or have significant foreign ownership and control. Trump says they've squeezed America's cattle producers, shrunk hers and jacked up prices at the grocery store. Industry consolidation has crushed competition and hammered American cattle producers. Yeah, so obviously Trump is bringing this all back. And with that, remember Elon came out with a new party, didn't he? Sort of America First and stuff. That I know it says in the Q drops that the Democrat Party would cease to exist, but you might find out that, you know, there's just as many swamp in the Republican Party, isn't there? They're all, not all, mostly compromise. And we could see all these parties go and move into a completely new system. And I think that's going to happen anyway with this blockchain and stuff, because I do believe that whether we've all got a Q phone or something like that, voting is going to completely change. There won't be any of this mail-in and all that crap, but there will be a way for everyone to vote almost instantly. And I think that will be off people's devices using a blockchain technology or something like that. And imagine if Keir Starmer came on. Look, if I was elected Prime Minister of England, I would immediately have a 2-week campaign, adverts on the telly, constantly coming on your telly, telling people not to drive in the fucking middle lane, right? Because if you're from the UK, you know about these middle lane drivers, and they are a nuisance, right? You drive on the left, that's the lane. The right one and the third one, they are overtaking lanes, people. Now, if someone's sitting there driving in the lane slow, people have got to slow down, go around, it causes traffic jams. Anyway, that's what I would do first. But that is a personal thing. Right. Talking about the meat packers.
Owns all the meat packers. There's only 4 meat packers in this country. BlackRock owns them all. And you can say to them, you need to do antitrust suits against those meat packers. The meat packers are keeping the price of meat high, and the price of cow is low. So the farmer gets hurt, the consumers get hurt, and they make the money because they've got a monopoly. There are many other things like, BlackRock owns all the pharmaceutical companies. We can start regulating the pharmaceutical companies so that they behave less like a cartel.
I had some clown mates say to me, Trump is finished. RFK Jr. is going to run and all this sorts of stuff. And I said, no, RFK is working with Trump. And he has been for a long, long time. A few months later, Trump brought RFK out on stage. If you want to look into this more, Elisa and I's Patriots Across the Pond and Friends second interview with Chuck Looney, he goes into the Cal Looney bloodline theory and stuff. And that is an amazing read. All the details are in that podcast, but it's really interesting stuff. Right, looks like about halfway through. I have a feeling, Melissa Redpill, I have a feeling Marjorie Taylor Greene is getting out of Congress before the whole thing craters. We will see. I feel sure she has a role, much like Matt Gaetz. We've just got to keep our eyes on this MTG thing. Do you think she's swamp? Probably not. I think she's more kayfabe, or as Josh Reed says, kayfabe. But it's great. Now, this was interesting as well. The reason I've put this here as well is because Trump has got 11.1 million followers on his Truth Social. Keep your eyes on that. See if it goes 11.2. Because if it goes 11.3, that might verify as the first marker, if anyone knows what I'm talking about. Do you remember the Trump-Kennedy flags everywhere a few years ago? I do remember some things like that, yeah. And do you remember how excited we've all got over the last 4 years? Oh my God, the flags haven't got gold fringe on them anymore. We're winning. And then a week later, they've all got gold fringes on them, and then they haven't, and then they have, and then they haven't. Oh. It's hard keeping up with a lot of this some of the time, but it's good. Whiplash 347's account was deleted off Twitter. I find it interesting. Loads of people say, oh, Whiplash, bullshit. You know, loads of other people say, no, this is a big account and it's putting some really good information out there. So it was interesting that got shut down. Bioclandestine was talking about that and a few other people. The case against James Comey and Letitia James has been dismissed, but I don't need to read that. You can just screenshot that or just pause it and read that. But I think they can be indicted again. The best person to listen to this is Kyle, Just Human. He used to be on the Devolution Power Hour with Burning Bright and John Patel Patriot a long time ago, until they had their little falling out. But listen, I sat there listening to Sidney Powell's, General Flynn's court case live, listening to them talk about mandamus and all this sorts of stuff. I didn't have a clue what was going on. Do you know what I mean? But Kyle, he's the person I listen to all this court case stuff, and he explains it in a really good way, for me especially, that I can listen to stuff like that. Patel Patriot, John Elwood, right? I personally don't like reading. I like watching podcasts and interviews. I like to look at people's eyes when they're talking. I like to suss them out. I like to remember if, Phil Goodbluska, he said one thing this day, and 6 months later he said the opposite. And all these sorts of things. Now, don't listen to him, don't listen to her, and all this sorts of stuff. But watch everything, listen to everyone, read all that you can, never believe anything unless you can prove it in your own right. And if some of these people have been telling us porkies and lying to us, that I have insider information, we're going to watch these people go down as well, aren't we? But yeah, eyes on that. Bit of Jesse Watters.
For something bad that's about to happen. I talked to 2 CIA officers who said that this is a part of a larger hoax, and what they're doing here is they're trying to condition the country to prepare for something bad that's about to happen at the hands of Donald Trump. It's straight out of the CIA playbook. It's a destabilization operation where you get people to mistrust each other. And you do this because
she's an analyst. And as an analyst, she would make sure what propaganda operations were successful, which ones weren't. So she knows what works. So the first part of the video, you establish authority. I'm CIA, I'm military, you need to trust us. Second part of the video, they introduce the threat. And the threat's not foreign, the threat's domestic, the threat's Donald Trump. And then at the end, they introduce the solution. What's the solution? You resist, you say no. But they don't give an option. They say this is an obligation for you to do. Now, she is being run because she didn't come up with this herself. She's a Brennan acolyte, and you usually don't have congressmen and senators doing anything together. They kind of hate each other. So in order to organize this had to have had some sort of handler telling her what to do. And it was risky because nothing like this has ever been done in the history of the country. And you can even tell because the media was skeptical and they couldn't answer the question. So they hadn't even been read in on the operation. You see them fumbling and stumbling. And I'm glad that the U.S. military is now investigating this guy Kelly, because this is what we expect from Donald Trump 2.0. You can't have the deep state interfering with a duly elected presidency and get away with it. You got to draw the line in the sand and you have to make examples out of people.
Yes, you do. It's coming. President Trump is securing America by confronting the Muslim Brotherhood's transnational network, which fuels terrorism and destabilization campaigns against US interests and allies in the Middle East. That was in the White House. Now, I think Greg Abbott in Texas has already designated the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization. So lots more to follow. I will play this. No, I don't need to play. Israel's own army chief, Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir, has now publicly admitted that the Israeli military failed in its primary mission on October the 7th to protect the civilians of the State of Israel. He called it a severe, resounding, systemic failure. It feels like an admission that the genocide in Gaza was never about preventing another October the 7th. It was about burying their responsibility of those who failed to do their job and making Palestinians pay the price for it. So I don't need to play that. There's a few bits of Trump here because I want to listen to these again because there's comms in here.
The White House counsel's office and the Department of Everything. We have a Department of Everything. You know what that is? I think that's called the White House. Into a terrible situation caused by a man named Sleepy Joe Biden. He used an auto pen last year for the turkey's pardon. So I have the official duty to determine, and I have determined that last year's turkey pardons are totally invalid, as are the pardons of about every other person that was pardoned other than, where's Hunter? No, Hunter's was good. That was the one pardon, Pam, that was good, right? The rest of them are all invalid. I don't know what the hell you're going to do about that, but that's, now we're going to take a little of the joking. That is a mess. But they're hereby null and void. The turkeys known as Peach and Blossom last year have been located, and they were on their way to be processed. In other words, to be killed. But I have stopped that journey, and I am officially pardoning them, and they will not be served for Thanksgiving dinner. We saved them in the nick of time. This one has plenty of time, but they were saved in the nick of time that we ever had in the history of our country. So those are all good numbers. But instead of pardons, some of my more enthusiastic staffers were already drafting the paperwork to ship Gobble and Waddle straight to the terrorist confinement center in El Salvador. And even those birds don't want to be there. You know what I mean? It was a tough. I'd like to thank the president of that country. They do a rather efficient job. It's going to be the largest prison in history. I've never seen anything like it. And a lot of people are behaving on our streets now. You know, Washington, D.C. is considered a safe zone. This was one of our most unsafe places anywhere in the United States. It is now considered a totally safe city. I won't tell you about murders. We're having murders, like a lot of murders, on a weekly basis. We haven't had a murder in 6 months. And it doesn't sound good even to say that. We haven't had a murder in 6 months. But when you are averaging one and even sometimes two a week, and you haven't had one in 6 months, you can walk with your family down the middle of any street, go to a restaurant, you won't get in. They're opening new restaurants all over. And it's really been a beautiful thing to see. So Washington, D.C. is now a totally safe city. And a year ago, it was a criminal mess. We removed, Pam, 1,700 people, career criminals, and people that came to this city from Venezuela and many other places. They were let out of prisons, and they came here. They were Tren de Aragua, a lot of Tren de Aragua, that's from Venezuela. And we got them all the hell out of our country, or they're in prisons now.
1,700. Right. And I think there's another bit about Pelosi. Oh yeah, this is great. This is.
Pardon today go by the names of Gobble and Waddle. When I first saw their pictures, I thought we should send them, well, I shouldn't say this. I was gonna call them Chuck and Nancy. But then I realized I wouldn't be pardoning them. I would never pardon those two people. I wouldn't pardon them. I wouldn't care what Melania told me. Darling, I think it would be a nice thing to do. I won't do it, darling. These are two of the largest turkeys ever presented to an American president, over 50 pounds each. It's the largest we've ever had. And those are big turkeys. Are they as good as the normal sized turkey? Better or as good? Do they tend to be a little fatty, maybe? No, he said no, he knows the turkey business. Anyway, despite their size, Secretary Kennedy has formally certified that these are the first ever Maha turkeys. I don't know if I agree with that. These are Maha. In other words, they could be fat, but they're still Maha. They've been fattened on a steady diet of grass, beef, to allow the smoothies and all of the other things that they've been eating for this occasion. This was a really big occasion, but they've eaten every fattening food that you can eat. We wanted to really make them special, and they really are. They're like record-setting. I've never seen a turkey that big before. Are they violent at all? Will they attack as I walk over? Because if they were, I'll stay right up here. But as you know, we're a tough on crime administration. We are tough on crime. You know, our border had 0 people coming in for the last 7 months, right? 0. I mean, even I find that hard to believe. They had millions and millions of people pour into our border, from prisons, from mental institutions, gang members, drug dealers. They poured in.
He really is a legend, that man, isn't he? General Flynn, we've all seen his Digital Soldiers video. I don't need to post that. Oh, and I forgot to say, that video I was looking for earlier, I've got a little video of every truth Trump's done on Spiritual Street Fighter that he's retruthed, sort of like 1 to 38 of them, I think it was. But I think I've taken that video out of my StreamYard to put something else in, because I can only have 100 things in there. But yeah, this Digital Soldier video was on the exact delta from 2019, 6-year delta. Enemy of the people, you're the news now. Facts matter. Digital soldiers. And Flynn said, get ready. Right, and this is closing stuff. Russia has officially banned Satanism, declaring the International Satanist Movement an extremist organisation, and now classifies Satanism as a dangerous ideology that justifies evil and aims to dismantle traditional values. Vladimir Putin once claimed the West is controlled by satanic paedophiles. I don't need to play that for you. That's Russian. This is G-Man again. I downloaded it. The US Department of Energy just released their video of the Genesis mission, the department that is spearheading this entire effort. We are officially in the modern day AI race. Now, a lot of people talk about AI, don't they? And I think AI is brilliant. But it's who controls this stuff, isn't it? Benevolence. Right? If we've got good people controlling good things for the betterment of humanity, it's going to be good, isn't it? But this is an interesting video.
In every age, humanity invents new ways to see further. The telescope let us glimpse the stars. The microscope revealed the worlds within us. For centuries, thinkers like Leibniz, Shannon, and Turing dreamed of making all knowledge computable. But today, knowledge grows faster than our ability to understand it. Trillions of data points, a universe of information still unconnected. Now, a new instrument emerges, one capable not only of observing the universe, but of understanding it. Genesis mission will transform how science is done in America, uniting our brightest minds, most powerful computers, and vast scientific data into one living system for discovery. Built on artificial intelligence and quantum computing, it will radically redefine the scale, speed, and purpose of scientific progress in America. This is the work that will define our generation's legacy. A new revolution begins, one guided not by competition alone, but by curiosity, imagination, and the belief that discovery is the truest form of progress.
Excuse me, it's very interesting, isn't it? All these things that have been pushed in the public psyche, the fact that there is, nearly these 6,000 hidden patents we've been hearing about for years. If you listen to General Stephen Quast, He's done many interviews now. He's on with the Badlands crew quite a lot. And, you know, he talks about free energy, charging our phones from space, if space exists. Well, there's definitely space up there, isn't there? But is there a glass dome on top of it? We don't know. Trump tells Judge going to hold off. See, they got out on a technicality, and you'll see what happens from here on in. If you look at the actual charges, anybody looks at it very fairly would say, boy, are they guilty. So let's see what happens over the next week. The judge who did this will lose. Accountability must be delivered. I think they can be re-indicted or something.
Are you planning to replace Cash Patel as
No, he's doing a good job. Cash Patel? No, he's doing a great job, I think.
This week we saw those cases against James Comey and Letitia James tossed out. Do you still have faith in Lindsay Halligan?
Oh, she's great. I think she's great. They got out on a technicality, and you'll see what happens from here on. But if you look at the actual charges, I think anybody that looks at it very fairly would say, boy, are they guilty. So let's see what happens over the next week. You know, the court didn't say you couldn't bring the case, re-bring the case, or appeal the case. So they have a lot of options. They're going to call the shot. I'm not calling the shot. But Lindsay's a very talented lawyer, actually.
Yeah, because lots of people are trying to dig out Cash Patel now, all these sorts of people, Pam Bondi, MTG, and all that lot. But just, what does everyone think about this little format? Because I know some of you, you know, are Jason fans, obviously, and watch his show, and he likes to play a lot of videos. And I used to do this a lot of the time when I was on my own. And obviously, Elisa, this is our 11th one now that we're just me and her. But yeah, I like going through the week in review and playing a few videos. I try and download every video so it's all there, so I don't have to mess about looking at links and stuff. And yeah, it's good. Kirill Dmitriev, Putin's special envoy, has made another post. I think I've got more details on this down. With Trumpy, Q plus there, trust the plan. Now, I do. I've heard many people go, oh, Russia, Operation Trust, and all this sorts of stuff. But if you look into that, and Burning Brights wrote some amazing substacks on it. I'm comfy AF. I don't know, many of you are as well. Laura Lumen, politics is going to be boring as hell when Trump leaves in 2028. It's so funny. Eldonado, parody account, is it really? Not leaving. Because you remember what Trump said when that woman asked him, are you Pappy Trumpo? I believe so. This is my message to the seditious six from a Marine combat veteran. Oh, this is Alpha Warrior. Yeah, now, if you watch Alpha and Josh's show, they do 2 shows now, Q After Hours and, I can't think what the other one's called. Someone put it in the comments if you know. Q After Hours and, DEFCON 0. They're great shows. But Alpha made a little video, and I think it was the White House, retweeted about 10 or 11 people, and Alpha was one of them.
Good evening, America. This message is for the seditious six, including that traitor Kelly, that disgrace. This comes from a Marine who wore the uniform in combat in Iraq in 2003. We don't need politicians cosplaying as patriots, telling our American warriors and our vets about illegal orders. These men and women are trained from day one. You follow a lawful order, you do not follow an illegal order. They understand this, they have the mental capacity to figure that out. And all you did was insult them by even suggesting what you did and putting out the rhetoric you did. But let's be honest, this wasn't about illegal orders. This was about sowing doubt in the minds of the men and women serving under the president to doubt the president. That's what you were really trying to do. What you did was a seditious conspiracy at a minimum. You were putting politics into the chain of command, which has made things dangerous for not just our troops, but all of America. That's what you have done. You do not care about America. You do not care about our troops. You care about politics, and it shows. You guys are absolutely a disgrace. I hope you are investigated for seditious conspiracy and every other law that applies. And at the end of that investigation, I hope you are held accountable. And I hope the consequence that is found from that is exactly what the law outlines for. Simplify.
Simplify, Alpha. Now, a lot of people I listen to are ex-military, ex-police, and all sorts of stuff, and these are the people that are true patriots that are fighting. Wendy, can you just tell me what a I know what the Jetsons is, obviously, but I don't know what a Rosie is from the Jetsons. Is she one of the characters in there? Just let me know that, because I don't like not knowing things, like most of us. I played a Clinton video, didn't I? Was it that one? I'm not going to play that, just in case it was the same one. Bill and Hillary Clinton were officially scheduled to... Yeah, that was Jesse Waters talking about it, wasn't it? Oh, this is a different video.
The House Oversight Committee has officially informed Bill and Hillary Clinton's attorney that they must appear for depositions on December 17th and 18th in Washington. The committee approved the subpoena on a bipartisan basis back in July, and now Chairman James Comer says no more negotiating terms. The time has come for the former first couple to tell Congress what they know about Jeffrey Epstein. So the bill to release the Epstein files that was signed by President Trump this week is just one part of Congress's multifaceted investigation into Jeffrey Epstein and his sex trafficking ring. In July, the House Oversight Committee sent subpoenas to multiple former government officials from both Democratic and Republican administrations, demanding they be deposed under oath. The Clintons received the subpoenas and tried to negotiate. They said they can provide written answers to questions. But Committee Chairman James Comer officially informed them Friday morning that won't cut it. In a letter sent to Clinton attorney David Kendall, Chairman Comer wrote, "Your suggestion that your client's testimony would not be relevant to the stated purposes of the committee's investigation because the events in question took place outside of the Clintons' respective official duties misses the committee's point. It is precisely the fact President Clinton and Secretary Clinton each maintain relationships with Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell in their personal capacities as private citizens that is of interest to the committee. If the Clintons do show up on the 17th and 18th, they will likely answer questions in private and the committee will release a video of certain answers." Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna wrote on X, "If the Clintons defy their subpoenas, there's only one thing to do. Jail time. That may not be an empty threat." Democrats subpoenaed former Trump administration officials Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro during the January 6th investigation. When they refused to comply, Democrats sent criminal referrals to President Biden's Department of Justice, which secured convictions that led to prison time.
Was that the same video I played earlier? Elisa put that in. Here's a bit of a Thanksgiving one for you. She put this in and said, "This is a fun one." From most people have seen this video, I would have thought, but seeing it is Thanksgiving.
If this turkey tastes half as good as it looks, I think we're all in for a very big treat.
Save the neck for me, Clark.
Okay, Adam.
You've got to hand it to all the memers and stuff that have made these memes over like the last 8 years and stuff. I mean, yeah, it's kept us all going, man. Fucking brilliant stuff. And this is remember when Trump? Remember the Thanksgiving when President Trump secretly flew 13 hours overnight to surprise our troops in Afghanistan. Today, I'm thankful that we are getting our real commander-in-chief back. What a legend!
Holiday surprise from the commander-in-chief.
Having a good time, everybody?
What do you think?
We love them. We love them. We say happy Thanksgiving.
President Trump making his first visit to Afghanistan today after a secret 13-hour, more than 8,000-mile overnight flight to the conflict zone. Today serving up Thanksgiving turkey and trimmings to troops at Bagram Airfield. Alongside Joint Chiefs Chairman General Mark Milley. Hundreds of service members gathered in a hangar to see the president.
There's nowhere I'd rather celebrate this Thanksgiving than right here with the toughest, strongest, best and bravest warriors on the face of the earth.
Yeah, you have got to have a laugh. Definitely. We have been laughing at some people, haven't we? I mean, especially through COVID. What does everyone think of Mark Milley? Because if you watch Mark Milley came on stage in that COVID presser and deliver that like little 2-minute speech about going to war with the cartels and if you try and get in our country and all this sorts of stuff, that was back in 2020. I thought he's fire, and I can't see that he was part of the dark side, right? And you know, I think Milley has had to do a lot of the stuff he's done, all that fucking woke shit that he was doing, as part of this operation. Right. So we've had breaking. It's Gateway Pundit. This was the first article I saw about it. This was yesterday. 2 National Guard members shot near the White House. So best wishes to them and their families and all this sorts of stuff on Thanksgiving. But is that 17 again, man? This is from Carly Bond.
Conditions are, but we do have a crew on the way to the scene, and we will take you there live as soon as we have that crew on the scene. But right now, we know this happened about 17th and I Streets. This is near Farragut West Metro subway station. I've been around that area multiple times. This is just about a block or two away from the White House. The president is not at the White House today. He is in Florida, but there is a big security presence in that area.
17's again, 17th Street. Right, the animal that shot the 2 National Guardsmen have both been critically wounded and now in 2 separate hospitals is also severely wounded, but regardless, will pay a very steep price. God bless our great National Guard and all of our military and law enforcement. These truly are great people. I, as President of the United States, and everyone associated with the office of the presidency, am with you. This is one of these slime balls again.
Look at these videos coming out of places like Chicago. It makes me incredibly nervous that we're about to see people in law enforcement, people in uniform military get nervous, get stressed, shoot at American civilians. It is a very, very stressful situation for these law enforcement and for the communities on the ground. So it was basically a warning to say, like, if you're asked to do something, particularly against American citizens.
Yeah. Yeah. She doesn't. What do you think about that? You think she's playing a part? Think this is movie? How many deep staters are left out there? Are we going to see some big... Who was it I was listening to earlier was saying? I think it was Bo Pony on with Nina, actually. Was saying that... No, it wasn't. It was someone else. That we're going to see more stuff of this National Guard ilk. Potentially. Yeah, I mean, good psyop to bring in more military. I think everything that you're seeing being done, whether it is the fucking dark side like that, pushing out a narrative to get people to do this, or whether the white hats control it and are making them do this to wake the people up. Both bicameral thinking, Bernie Bright says, both timelines and narratives there have the same effect. They're waking people up, and people have to see this crap because they won't listen to Stu's news, right? Well, listen, you know, my friends and the normals and stuff don't want to watch Stu's news, don't want to watch alternative stuff, and they don't dig into it. Admittedly, most people don't have time. They've got families and have fucking bills and have to go to work and haven't got as much time as me to do this. And the only reason I can do this at the moment is because my mum passed away in COVID, and that's collateral damage in this war, right? And we have all lost people we love, friends, family in this. But it is getting us to the stage where so many people are awake that when the hammer goes down, we're not going to have all this discord or as much of it as we would have if BLM and Antifa and all these people were still out there. Because we had that, you know, you had that, the No Kings was a bit of a dud, wasn't it? And then we were meant to have all these people coming out protesting on November the 5th. And I was thinking, oh, this could, and nothing happened. Did it really? No, it was a dud, a non-event, General Flynn.
I'm saying the Epstein affair is not going to go away. The American, and Donald Trump knows this now. This is something that is an elite class of people that have done such damage to children, never mind what they have done to the moral fabric of not only our country, but the rest of the world.
Yeah, exactly. All being pushed into the narrative. Right, this is Lisa. 2 National Guard members were shot near the corner of 17th and 1st Street. What should we put this in here for? 34. We all know what Q drop 34 is. Why isn't that there? Q drop 34, one of my faves. All right, what's going on here? Oh, right. Okay, let's think about something for a moment. The shooting took place on 17th Street. Will the shooter be a Muslim? I think he is from Afghanistan, isn't he? Was the Muslim Brotherhood just designated a terrorist organisation? POTUS said he wants 500 more troops in DC. Q post 500 says fire and fury. 9 states active. Are the National Guard currently in 9 states? Also says 34 comms. Q post 34. Well, we all know what that is. Prayers for any and all people injured today. Does evil attack 17 because they know what 17 is? Does this give reason to activate the Marines? Could this be classified as war on American soil? Martial law coming publicly, announcing the Insurrection Act. Yeah, we've been saying it for ages. What past POTUS used the military to safeguard the Republic? Lincoln, Abraham. And how did he do it? Yeah. And that's just a bit more there. Dave from News Treason was posting about that. 17th Street. Shooting took place on 17th 1st Street. Victims were West Virginia National Guard. News outlets highlights that there were exactly 179 West Virginia soldiers out there. Let's find that one. That's a 17. Afghan shooter illegally entered on 9/8. That's a 17. Elisa put that in there, so let's just play this because
الجمعيه العامه المتحده بتفتح ملف اغتيال كندي الرئيس الامريكي. لماذا؟ نبغى نعرفه. قتله واحد اسمه لي هارفي. جاء واحد اسمه جاك روبي قتل لي هارفي قاتل كندي. لماذا قتله؟ اللي جاك روبي اسرائيلي قتل لي هارفي اللي قاتل كندي. لماذا هذا الاسرائيلي يقتل قاتل كندي؟ ثم جاك روبي قاتل كندي مات قبل إعادة محاكمته في ظروف غامضة. لماذا؟ خرج عن الملفات. أنا اللي نعرفها والعالم ممكن يعرفها واللي درسناها في التاريخ أن كندي قرر تفتيش مفاعل ديمونة الإسرائيلي. هل في قنابل ذرية وإلا لا؟ وعلشان كذا
there's a great hour documentary I watched about Gaddafi, and it was done by RT News, and it was called something like Gaddafi, the truth about Libya, Gaddafi and the Illuminati, something like that. But it's amazing, and I don't know if anyone's seen it. Have you seen that? Bless you, Wendy. I always put these 3 little things. Right. And I'll put that there. I'm going to put people's names in there. Prayers, peace, and love to you. We've all, lost people in this war. But, we all know, and we have to understand that what was written on the Georgia Guidestones and maintain humanity under 500 million people. Well, if there is 8 billion people on this planet, I don't like to say planet, on this worldwide or flat plane or whatever it is, that they would have had to kill 15 out of every 16 people on Earth. And if this military alliance, because we don't, they knew COVID was going to happen. Did they use COVID to go into all these tunnels and take out all the deep state and find all this gold and shut the Vatican down and all these sorts of things? Potentially, yeah. But if you've got a commander-in-chief and a military operation that is, you have 2 choices. You're going to lose 95% of the people to save 5%, or you lose 5% to save 95%. You have to make tough decisions, And my heart goes out to everyone. I know people that have, you know, we didn't lose a lot of people outside the hospital, did we? And if you look at these protocols that they talk about NG191 and all this midazolam stuff and remdesivir flooding people's organs, putting them on ventilators, and you know the hospitals were incentivized for COVID cases, COVID deaths, and putting people on ventilators and stuff. It's fucking horrific. But I'll just say something else as well. If anyone's seen a video called on YouTube, "What if everyone jumped at once?" Right? All these people that say the world is overpopulated, and you know a lot of these fucking woke people, right, use that. Oh, the world's overpopulated anyway. We need to get rid of some, and all this sorts of stuff. On that video, what if everyone jumped at once? It basically says that you could get all 8 billion people on Earth standing next to each other, shoulder to shoulder, in the borough of Los Angeles, right, which is 25 miles by 25 miles. And then I sort of did a little experiment and worked out, you look how big the UK is on the world map or whatever, and how big Kent is. It's the county closest to France. We're right by where the Channel Tunnel goes across. And I worked out that you could get 8 billion, all 8 billion people using those dimensions in 1/3 of Kent. So that's it. Anyway, Wendy, I'm sorry for your losses. I'm sorry for everyone's losses. But, you know, my dad's had 10 of those. And he had a hospital stint. But he's fucking still going strong. His arm's a bit like that, like a fiddler crab now, with arthritis and stuff. But, yeah. Gaddafi was a good man. Because he was trying to take their money away from the petrodollar and set up a new currency, wasn't he, called the gold-based African dinar, I think. And if you've watched that video of him driving around Tripoli, going like that in that motorcade, standing outside, and all the people on the side of the street just, and there's a great video, I can find it for you if anyone wants it. It is in my Telegram somewhere, and it's saved somewhere on hard drives, but I can find it. It's got a wicked drum and bass tune over the back of it as well. But that just shows you how Gaddafi loved his people and how his people loved him and what he did for his people. All these things, like the government would help people buy a house, and if you had a baby, they would give you money and all these sorts of things. It's a magic video. So if anyone wants that, I shall try and find that. Right. A reminder that Hillary Clinton sent the memo demanding that Gaddafi must be killed. Yeah, this Hildebeest. Listen to this.
We came, we saw, we died.
Yeah, she won't be laughing for long, will she? I don't. I think they took. If you've all seen that video of her being put in the thing, I've got that. Yeah, let me just play that. Excuse me. Yeah, that was, I think that was 9/11 Memorial Day in 2016, right? And I think that took her out of it then. We've all seen that New Hillary and Bill Clinton is about 17 inches difference in their heights and stuff. People forget they all hurt their ankles, didn't they? They all had ankle boots on and monitors and all these sorts of things. You know, we saw all the videos in COVID, didn't we, of Ellen DeGeneres and Tom Hanks and all that, with ankle monitors on and doing weird videos and stuff. People tend to forget all this stuff that we've all seen and I've documented. I just want to say thanks to everyone in here commenting and stuff like that, because it's making me laugh today. And I used to do, it's great now Elisa's on, because we work really well together. And but I used to sit here when I did start going live, just with Stu's News and stuff. I used to sit here talking to no one most of the time, and but I've never stopped because I love it. Listen to the MSG is bad in food.
All right, let me get this straight, because I'm a little slow. MSG in food, bad. MSG in vaccines, good. Aluminum in deodorant, bad. Aluminum in vaccines, good. Right? I have this right? Yeah. Glyphosate on food, bad. Glyphosate in vaccines, good. Formaldehyde in building materials, bad. Formaldehyde in vaccines, good. Mercury in fish, bad. Mercury vaccines, good. I think I got all that right.
Yeah, I think you got all that right. That's that video I showed at the start when Elisa was in. Paedophiles are placed in power because they're easy to control. It's no coincidence that Trudeau, Obama, Zelensky and Macron are all gay. Their psychotic traits make them easy to manipulate. Candace Owens she's the most followed podcast in the world right now, and she has got a lot to say. And a lot of people, you know, slag Candace off, and you know, other people, and you know, Tucker and these things, but they don't look at the people. Or I don't always look at the people. I look at the information they are giving out.
That pedophiles are in power.
Yes.
They are literally in power. And that is intentional because then they can be controlled while they are in power. And they are also exhibiting signs of a psychopathology that lets them know that they will do harm to the masses and feel nothing because they were themselves, many of them raped when they were children. Yep. It's not a coincidence that Justin Trudeau is gay, Obama, gay, Zelensky, gay, Emmanuel Macron, gay and married to a trans man who molested him when he was a child. And that despite the overwhelming evidence, like for me, the litmus test now is like Brigitte Macron. I'm like, if you want to figure out who is a fraud in media, there's no way to read that 6-part series and go through it and come out of it being like, no, totally legit. Like these are just rumors. It's like one picture of yourself in your first 30 years of living, please. And they
show me her brother.
Where's your brother?
Wait, where is it? I'll show you my brother. Yeah, where's your brother?
Yeah.
It's actually.
That was with Tristan Tate, wasn't it? Good interview that was. Jim Brewer.
Names are true. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's some names on there that when I say broke my heart, it breaks my heart. They're huge actors, huge musicians, huge. And the thing is, it's out there. The list is out there. I've seen it multiple times. And like I said, it started 2 years ago. It's up to you to go look for it. And so many of you are not ready. If it was true, which is a little weird, the whole, it's a human trafficking trial. Isn't that so? Let's talk about abortion. Let's talk about gun laws. Let's talk about Ukraine. No. Let's talk about that. Why aren't we talking about that? And I'll tell you why. It has the potential to collapse governments, music industry, film and TV industry. Do you realize the magnitude? We're talking like, okay, here's Hollywood, here's government, including ours. And here's all of Hollywood and all the biggest musicians you grew up going, I love them. And all of a sudden just gone. Because if I find a name, which I have to say, there are certain names, and I don't know if they're true. Nobody knows they're true until they officially come out and go, yeah, it's true. It's on the internet, some guy reading the names, reading them. He read them. But here's what's interesting. Nobody that has been put out there has claimed, hey man, this stuff is all BS, stop including me. I haven't seen it.
yeah, he has kept a lot of people going and entertained over this last few years, hasn't he, especially? And this is what we need, right? You've got people like me and Elisa talking to an amazing crowd, and people who want to watch and listen and have an amazing guest on, but we need big celebrities with a following. And I use that word celebrity very lightly, because no one person is better than anyone else, and most of them sold their fucking souls to be where they are. But the true patriots that have celebrity following are essential in this movement. We're quite close to the end now, so that's good. We've got through this quite quick without Elisa banging on. Jokes. Who's this from? Patriot Bouvier.
They've been keeping this from you. This is the underground city that was found beneath Los Angeles by a man named Warren Shufelt. It was discovered using a device he invented to detect underground tunnels and caverns. Shufelt mapped out a network of passageways stretching for miles beneath the city. And here is where it gets crazy. His maps indicated a central chamber filled with gold and advanced artifacts. Shufelt said that upon analysis of the artifacts and the scriptures found within the passageways, they all pointed to a lost continent named Lemuria. Despite his groundbreaking findings, city officials abruptly shut down his excavation. They officially claimed that the tunnels were old subway lines, but this is where they messed up. The Los Angeles subway system didn't begin operation until 1990, over 70 years after Schufelt's discovery. So what subway lines were they referring to? Some speculate that they were referring to an ancient civilization that had access to a subway-like system. Some have even gone further to say that the city officials had knowledge from the future. They knew that Los Angeles would eventually have a running subway system in the years to come, therefore it would be the perfect cover-up, perfectly concealing its true origins.
Now, I think Lisa posted that. Yeah, Lisa did post that. So I watched that video with Lisa, and I said to her, I've got some 3 posts saved in an email, right? The first one was Sherry Shriner, I think, What Lies Beneath. And she goes into all the Dolce base and Area 51 and all these things, and in this email, and it goes, you know, all about the reptilians and grey nests and all this sorts of stuff. And I've had this post for years, right? So I've got that one. Then it goes into the programming sites, all how to do with this MK Ultra and stuff like that. Now, I can't verify this stuff, but other people have read this. And then the last post is about the first adrenochrome bust. I sent that to Elisa to have a read, and she said it is so disturbing to read this stuff. But if anyone wants me to forward that on to them, right, send me an email down there. I haven't got it on the screen. Let me just type it in here. That's wrong. Take that out of there. That banner. That. If you want to read it all, send me an email to that and I'll forward it back to you, because it is eye-opening if this is what's going on, and it certainly makes you think in greater detail about, you know, it was in 2018, wasn't it? I think that they spent 500 billion training the military, to US military, to fight underground. And we believe that it's a military worldwide alliance, and, you know, all these nations were doing this for the military to go into these tunnels. And if they went into these tunnels and they were fucking fighting reptilians and greys and all sorts of other nasties, you know, we hear about all these human hybrid experiments, so they're probably down there fucking shooting up werewolves and all these other things. You don't know, do you? But it's interesting information. If anyone wants it, just email me and I will send it back to you. Right, Trump is pissed because of these 2 National Guard being shot. So he put out a statement, and this is good listen.
Great fellow Americans. Earlier today, on the eve of the Thanksgiving holiday, 2 members of the National Guard serving in Washington, D.C., was shot at point-blank range in a monstrous ambush-style attack just steps away from the White House. They had been deputized as part of the most successful public safety and national security mission in the history of our nation's capital, the D.C. Safe and Beautiful Task Force, which has achieved an unprecedented reduction in violent crime and crimes of all type. This heinous assault was an act of evil, an act of hatred, and an act of terror. It was a crime against our entire nation. It was a crime against humanity. The hearts of all Americans tonight are with those two members of the West Virginia National Guard and their families. The love of our entire country is pouring out for them, and we are lifting them up in our prayers. As we are filled with anguish and grief for those who were shot, we're also filled with righteous anger and ferocious resolve. As President of the United States, I am determined to ensure that the animal who perpetrated this atrocity pays the steepest possible price. I can report tonight that based on the best available information, the Department of Homeland Security is confident that the suspect in custody is a foreigner who entered our country from Afghanistan, a hellhole on earth. He was flown in by the Biden administration in September 2021 on those infamous flights that everybody was talking about. Nobody knew who was coming in. Nobody knew anything about it. His status was extended under legislation signed by President Biden, a disastrous president, the worst in the history of our country. This attack underscores the single greatest national security threat facing our nation. The last administration let in 20 million unknown and unvetted foreigners from all over the world, from places that you don't want to even know about. No country can tolerate such a risk to our very survival. An example is Minnesota, where hundreds of thousands of Somalians are ripping off our country and ripping apart that once great state. Billions of dollars are lost, and gangs of Somalians come from a country that doesn't even have a government, no laws, no water, no military, no nothing. As their representatives in our country preach to us about our Constitution and how our country is no good. We're not going to put up with these kind of assaults on law and order by people who shouldn't even be in our country. We must now re-examine every single alien who has entered our country from Afghanistan under Biden, and we must take all necessary measures to ensure the removal of any alien from any country who does not belong here or add benefit to our country. If they can't love our country, we don't want them. America will never bend and never yield in the face of terror. And at the same time, we will not be deterred from the mission these service members were so nobly fulfilling. That is why tonight I can announce that I have directed the Department of War to mobilize an additional 500 troops to help protect our capital city. We will make America totally safe again, and we will bring the perpetrator of this barbaric attack to swift and certain justice if the bullets going in the opposite direction haven't already done that. During this time of the year, when we gather at home with loved ones, these two patriots were wearing the uniform of our country, patrolling the streets of our capital. They had taken a selfless oath to defend our nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that is exactly what they were doing when they were gunned down in a savage attack. I want to express my extraordinary gratitude to every member of the United States military who is deployed tonight at home and abroad. I also want to thank the Secret Service and the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department for their work today. This Thanksgiving, I ask every family to say a prayer for the two great heroes who were so horribly shot, and for their loved ones. Please say a prayer. May God bless them and comfort them, and may God bless and protect the United States of America. Thank you and good night.
You can all feel it, people, can't you? Something big is coming. We know it. We've been preparing for it for years. Whether we're going to get a lockdown or the EBS or 3 Days Darkness, 10 Days Darkness, this fucking 8-hour movie plan or anything, scare events, precipice moments, near-death experience, whether it's going to look like we've lost and the dark side has won, you know, we have to be prepared for that all. But yeah, I've had a fucking 10 Days of Darkness shot, tins of stuff. Now, I've got loads of tins and stuff, and after what we heard about Campbell's soup, right, this last week, that this guy was caught on camera, or was he? Was he made to say it? The fact that they've been using 3D printed meat, was it, or something like that? Don't quote me on that. But some nasty shit in their soups. Lots more stuff is coming out, isn't it? Anyway, this is a great little video.
racist, fascist. I consider myself to be an absolute liberal. The Democratic Party has completely lost its way. It's almost a joke. It doesn't seem like it's even real. You know, I voted for Obama twice, unfortunately. The Democratic Party has pushed people like me, not only to the center, but they would consider somebody like me a right-wing extremist. Yeah. Within the art of war, you know, the way that you counter an opponent is by calling them names. And then you've got the Mockingbird media repeats everything, fascist. It's become absolute fatigue. They're going off of emotion. Yeah. They're not going off of facts.
That's exactly right, isn't it? Because what they've done is that, you know, you've seen those graphs about the middle, air, centre and all that. The left has gone so far left that anyone in the centre, right, whether you were conservative or liberal, right, they are now calling far right because you have conservative family values. You know, you might be against abortion. You know, you might be against illegal immigration. You're fucking far right, fascist, white supremacist, and all this other crap. I say, yeah, cloned chicken. I don't doubt that at all. Right, I played that at the start, didn't I? That's good. So I've just got one video left to play, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do as well, because no one wants to see me on the screen twice. I'll slow that up at that normal speed. Right. This is the sort of little videos I do on my own and whacking my Telegram channel. And I've also got a Telegram chat group as well that anyone can post anything in there they like as well. But you can find that quite easily, I think, by just putting a comment in my Stu's News, and it will take you to that group anyway. If it doesn't, let me know, and I'll send you the link. But I did this little video yesterday or the day before, and it's John Michael Chambers, I think, and Ricardo Bosi. And this is 9 minutes long. I did this video and tagged Ricardo Bosi and John Michael Chambers in it. They both, well, John Michael Chambers retweeted it. Ricardo Bosi commented on it. So I sent him a message, would you come on our show? So we've had little emails forward and back. And yes, he is coming on our show in March, which is brilliant. So what I'll do is I'll just take myself off the screen, play this video, and then I will come back because it's not an outro video, so it won't just end itself after this. But this is 9 minutes. Ricardo Bosi on with John Michael Chambers. Pay attention.
From his journey in childhood all the way on through. That leads me to Q. And to our audience in the green room, Australia One Ricardo's green room, there's an episode I believe that was just launched with Joe M Videos. You can comment on that in a moment, but that's probably a good place for everyone to go to if you've got Q in mind, because I'm about to discuss that right now. There are people within our movement who sling derogatory terms known as Q-tard. That's a very powerful and important people, and some people that are sacrificing a lot. They throw this term Q-tard at those who reference Q, you know, the Q intel drops. I, of course, silence them when and you were talking about fellow MAGAs, when I remind them that President Trump, how many times, I've lost count, dozens and dozens easily since 2016 to present, where he's done this at the rallies, signaling the Q symbol, and it's not just, oh, Chambers is making that up, or it could have been anything. No, it's exactly what I'm saying if you go and look at all the history footage. So when those in the MAGA movement throw darts at those that are aware of Q and reference Q, know that the president does this. Also, the president, as of recent and throughout the years, has done multiple social media posts, including very recent with him depicted in the meme and, you know, animation with his hands out like this. I got to get my hands on the camera. There we go. And the little Q plus right on top of his hand. Now, why would the president repost something like that? Come on, folks. Okay, so when you call me or others Q-tard, you're calling the president a Q-tard. And the last thing I'd like to say, I'm just getting this off my chest before I ask you a very important question about Q, is if you're in the camp that just said, and it's your prerogative, I have no problem with that. What I have a problem with is throwing darts at those that do reference Q. That I have a problem with because that's disruptive in the war effort. Okay, so those that denounce Q, realize who you're in company with, who you're in bed with. You're in bed with the legacy media. The mainstream media throws darts at Q, tried to ambush the president on Q-related questions over the years, and so with the QAnon nonsense, right? So you're in that camp. You're in the camp of the DHS that at one point had it on a terrorist watch list. You're in the camp of mainstream media, Rachel Maddow, CNBC, MSNBC, CNN, even the idiots at Fox. You're in that camp. Do you want to be in that camp? These are the same people that told you President Trump was a Russian spy for how many years, costing this country how much anguish and money, okay? So I've got that off my chest. But having said that, Ricardo, share with this audience, from your perspective, a definition of Q and what Q's value has been in this war to date.
Q's a small group of individuals. This is my understanding. I could be wrong. I don't think so. Small group of individuals is actually running the operation. Very small. There are lots of anons. The anons are the people trying to make sense of it and try to help people through. But Q runs the show, and they're the choreographers, the conductors, making sure the sequence of events that has to happen is happening the way it's got to happen. And understand this, ladies and gentlemen, if people are calling you a Q-tard, just don't give them oxygen. It's in the assault. If you're assaulting an objective, here's a military analogy for you. If you're assaulting an objective, you must always secure your flanks. It's one of the things you've got to do. You've got to come from a firm base. You've got to, all those sorts of things. But one of the things you've got to do is secure your flanks so you don't get interfered with, so you can get to your objective. And there's two ways you secure your flanks. You put troops out there, and that's good if you've got them. But if you haven't got them, the other way to secure your flanks is to move with such speed that everything they say and do is irrelevant. Make sense? They're on a hill. They shoot you as you go past. You keep driving forward. Ignore them. Bypass. Just drive forward. That's what we've done. A1's done that the longest time. We don't give them any oxygen. We don't care. And here's a little tip to everybody out there. The NSA has every email, every website, every text, and every picture that everybody on the planet's ever sent. Catalogued. So keep calling us Q-tards. Keep making a pest of yourself. Keep saying embarrassing things. You're just burying yourself deeper and deeper and deeper, because there will be a knock on the door and you will be held to account. So do I worry about it? No, I just smile and just keep driving forward, because I know that nobody gets away this time. Nobody. Even if it's to the extent of a minor infraction and you spend a month in jail. So be it. But everyone's going down, and nothing you've said or done is hidden. It's all available to be used against you. So, hey, keep going, guys. Call us names, make fun of us, fill your boots. We don't care.
Perfect. Thank you. I might add, I had 4 or 5 years ago, a 5-hour dinner at Trump International in Las Vegas with Juan O'Savin. And where Juan, I of course had a million questions for Juan, and he had a lot of questions for me too, sort of gauging my awareness level of things, I think is what he was doing. But I asked Juan, best define Q for me. And as you said, it's a handful of individuals strategically mapping things out and so forth. And Juan, basically said the same thing. And he also said it's housed out of the Department of Energy. It's a handful of individuals. Trump is Q+, who has posted on the boards back in the day. And there's a definition out there that I kind of like. I saw a meme once where I forgot I won't take our time on it, but basically It's the greatest open source military intelligence operation of our time. And I believe without the Q operation, having put that stuff on the boards, I was also told some of it was AI driven, but programmed by the right people to get the right results, to assist in the drops and the riddles and the clues and crumbs that were given to us. And to your point, the Anons, people that would come and look at this stuff and do something with it, some great work, some useless work. But the bottom line is, in my humble opinion, if we didn't have that operation, it's a gift. It was a gift to all of us. And if we didn't have it, we wouldn't be where we are today. Because the pecking order, in my view, is God, military, the White Hats, President Trump, and then the last piece, we the people of America, and we, our brothers and sisters of the world. Without us, they needed our support. So that's what we the people means. And so they gave us Q. And boy, did we get something done with that. And they helped raise the awareness, help get people going down the rabbit holes. And so it wasn't just coming from the government or not coming from the government, coming from the people on up. It was brilliant. And I don't think we'd be where we are today without it. So thanks to the brilliance of the military, the White Hats, and our commander-in-chief spokesman for that alliance, if you will. I want to
military civilian alliance. We the people have to play a part. If you haven't been following Q and you want to know more, come speak to me, because I have, and I've got lots of information I can send you. Things are happening. Where we go one, we go all. Mike is muted. Yes. So I used to hate people calling me a conspiracy theorist. I couldn't give two fucks now. Proud. Conspiracy analyst, critical thinker, whatever you like. But Q-tard, if you didn't say that, I'm 117% Q-tarded. I've had loads of t-shirts made up and stuff. I've even got a Q earring now. I don't know if you could see that. That's how Q-tarded I am. But people who call you Q-tards don't dig into it. They don't watch all these shows. They don't see all these drops and correlations and comms and deltas and things. So, whatever. That's down to them. But every one of you, just keep doing what you're doing, because there's so much going on. It's amazing. So thank you for joining me today. Thank you for your comments. They were fun and did make me laugh. And Alicia and I are back tomorrow with Carol Moore in Friesen, 3:30 UK, 10:30 Eastern. And if it wasn't for Carol, I wouldn't be doing this, because Carol, I'll probably say this again tomorrow, but I was watching the Friday Night Calling on News Treason with Dave and Rambo and whoever else was on there. Was Rambo on there? I don't remember. Might have been Gunnels or whoever. Anyway, Carol phoned in. She said she wanted podcasters. Do that mask one more time. This is my anonymous thing. I used to wear all this crap, and I used to say to people, don't ever wear a mask. No mask ever went on my face, surgical mask or anything like that. But I said, if you do find yourself in a situation where you have to do it, make sure you've got something on that tells people what team you're on. And I've always done that. I've got some t-shirts as well. I had a new t-shirt I designed. Let me shut that down and see if I can find this quickly, because this won't take me a second. Where is it? In there, I think. Is it that one? Oh, come on. There. That is a t-shirt. Add to stage. Oh, right. Hold up. Hold up. What's going on here? Add to stage. There we go. Oh, I want it like that. I want it like that. So, that's my latest t-shirt I've just made. Stu's News Original Gangster. And as well, I've got some hats and stuff as well. And I made this when I finish my website. So I'm getting some of them printed up at the moment. If anyone wants one of those, I've got some other stuff as well. But that, because I do everything by numbers, right? And that Stu's News, that is a 19 and a 14. That's 33. That is O is 15, I think. G is 7. There's your 22, 11, 11. And add those two together, 33 and 22. That's 55. My fellow Americans, and loud and clear. Yeah. So if you fancy a little snog, come and have a bit of Stu's News. I have made up many other t-shirts and stuff. Hugs are better than handshakes. Give everyone a hug. All right. Just loads of stuff I made. It's my devolution one. I walk about in all that sort of stuff, so people know what I'm doing all the time. Anyway, if you do want a t-shirt, you've got my email address. Send me a note. Difficult for me to get anything to America at the moment, probably, but anyone in the UK for sure. But yeah, thank you all for joining me today. What was I talking about? I was talking about Carol, wasn't I? Yeah, she phoned in to Dave News Treason Show. She wanted podcasters from all around the world or whoever to send in a 45-second clip. Just talking about censorship, really, and how we've been censored. So I was on my second bottle of red at the time. Sent a video in about 1 minute and 20 seconds long. She got back to me the next day and said, and I saw her on a podcast with True Stream talking about it, and I'll do an impression of what she said. She went, "Oh my God, Stewie from Stu's News in England, he's hilarious. He sent a video in, he didn't have a shirt on." And all that. So she sent me an email back saying basically, Mel loved your video, Mel Carmine. Can you shorten it to under 45 seconds and put a shirt on? He's Wilson Zelensky. Which made me laugh. And yeah, so I sent it in. I got myself a little part in Dear Mr. President. And, you know, Elisa saw that. I went on there, showed the forecast a couple of times. We did a couple of podcasters round tables after that. And I did a couple of shows with Mel. And Elisa got in contact after that. And it's been, we've been quite busy ever since. We do our little show every Thursday, obviously. And then we're doing interviews like 4 days a week on top of that. And we've had some great ones. If you haven't seen the Laura Eisenhower one, the other day, Laura's amazing. And it's just great. I love talking to all these people. And I love the fact that all you guys coming in, giving me some support and stuff like that. It's amazing. So what should I do? Should I put a little thing on the end? What can I put on today? Let me have a look. Let me just find something. I might put that little video, one of my favourites of Nino, on, because Nino's great. Let me just put that in my outro video, and I can play that as I say goodbye. I've got 2 of Nino's on here, so if you want to see the other one, hold up. Nah. Bear with me. There it is. I remember what you did. Select. So it's outro video. Yeah, that's on. That's 1 minute long. So, all you groovers out there, all you Q-tards and crazy tinfoil hatters. Oh, no, just one other thing as well. If you go on my website, stunews.uk, you can have a look at those nice things people have wrote to me on my about page, and it's got my YouTube channel, my BitChute channel, and Rumble channels at the bottom of the first page. Have a look at my Substack as well, because the last Substack I've put, there's so much information in there about Q, right? But if you look at my YouTube channel, you can go and see the very first videos I did, just out with my cycling gear on, just waffling on to myself and my GoPro. My BitChute stuff, BitChute doesn't work in the UK now, so I can see all my stuff, but I can't watch it. So any of you in America, right, or anywhere else that can see BitChute, you can have a look at those. But obviously my Rumble channel is the best place to follow me. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you all for joining. Love, not fear, all the time. And anyone coming in tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow. And where we go one, we go all.
But we got some really dumb fuck liberals out there that don't know their ass from their elbow, and they need to be taught a lesson. And this is the only way you teach those fucking idiots a lesson, is by this. Now, Juan has told me many times, you got to be nice to them when the shit goes down. You got to open your arms and allow them in and tell them where to go. Fuck you. I remember what you did to me and everybody else. All the conspiracy guys were trying to sound the alarm, what you said to us, how we were the nutty. And now we're in this situation because of you. Because of you. And I'm going to be nice to you? You fucking just wait. I'll have to pray about it. And if God puts it on my heart to be nice, I guess I'll have to be nice.